test this. I think we got it. And it looks like the audio levels are good to go. Maybe just say something real quick just to make sure.
Hello, testing.
Yeah,
let me just mute myself on the podcast playback.
Yep. I'll turn it down just a smidge on your end. It looks like the bars match up pretty good, so I think we're good.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for having me on, firstly.
For sure. Yeah. I've gotten all sorts of shit about it. So that's always good, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's nice to be here, man.
Yeah. Have you
followed? Speak about the game.
Yeah. Have you followed any of the other podcasts yet, or are you just the first one?
Yeah, I watched the very first one you did, and I watched a bit of KSK's one. Yeah. Didn't watch any of PTC's, and I've been meaning to watch Drizzt, but I just haven't got round to it.
Yeah, apparently. Apparently, you say it Drist. That's how you say it.
Oh, it's Drist?
Drist,
okay,
yeah.
I really doubt I'm going to change a lifelong habit of calling him Drizzt,
I know.
but I'll try it.
Yeah, it's really hard. I didn't know that either, so. Shit. All right, well, I guess I think the only thing to announce is next weekend I'm doing that LAN with Shame, Jesse, and Thug. And that'll be sometime Saturday night. Don't know exactly when. So that'll be fun. We're going to have a couple webcams, a couple mics set up, and we're going to be eating pizza and drinking. So
yeah, that sounds like a great time.
Dude, it's going to be awesome. I'm so
you bringing your console out or your PC or anything?
Yeah,
I'm
bringing the PC, and I'm just hoping to God that I was going to take my SUV, but it's got a little problem with like stuttering. Like it's cutting in and out. It might just be like, something stupid like needing fuel injector cleaner. Who knows? But I don't know. I don't trust it going out there, so I'm taking the wife's car, and I'm hoping that's going to be...
Oh, you're not gonna take the Jag? It's the perfect journey for it, isn't it?
Yeah, I wish, dude. I put that in storage too soon.
You got it in storage?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I paid to have it stored for the whole winter, because, winter, it's rear-wheel drive. Yeah, it's rear-wheel drive, so... And I have summer tires on it, and I'm not looking to, there's already stretch buying it. Like, it was stupid. I shouldn't even bought it, really, but I wanted something, so fuck it.
Don't you guys get, sand debris coming over in the winter as well that would just fuck up all your paintwork? Or is it all rust? Like, what's the issue there?
What it is, the main thing that fucks up the cars out here is the salt on the roads. That mixture that they use to make it so it's drivable, that fucking rusts your shit to nothing. It's terrible, man. The amount of rust in vehicles in Minnesota is crazy.
Well, you probably did the right thing, putting it in storage.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't want to ruin it.
Yeah, exactly. That thing's like my baby. Yeah, so I was hoping all my shit fits in the wife's car, because it would have easily fit in the SUV, but I'm bringing 2 tables. Like, I'm bringing one to set my shit up on, and then I'm bringing a cocktail and pizza table.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then I'm bringing the computer set up.
They've got you hosting the party, huh?
No. I mean, it's at his place, but it's like... Yeah, I'm logging all sorts of shit. It's probably excessive, but whatever.
Oh, I'd rather prepared than not prepared, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, that sounds like there's going to be a good time, so I hope you guys have fun out there. Send them my best when you see them in the flesh.
Yeah, it's
Excuse the poetry.
First time in Chicago, too.
Right?
First time
Chicago's
Airbnb.
Probably worse than London, fucking crime-wise, man, so
Ooh, yeah.
bear that in mind, too.
Yeah, I know. It's a little nerve-wracking, but I think it's maybe more on the outskirts of Chicago, not right in the middle of all the shit, so I don't know. It'll be fine.
Just avoid gas stations after 11 p.m.
Yeah, right?
You'll be alright.
Yeah. I'll use some of my self-defense stuff. That probably won't work.
No, I don't think that helps you deflect bullets.
No, it doesn't. Not at all. Alright, well, fuck it. So let's do some Tony Hawk stuff.
Okay,
so,
far away.
General questions. Did you look at the ones I sent you, or is this just...
Yes, I did. Yeah, I had a bit of a think about them, but I thought at the same time, I don't want to be over-prepared, so I'd much rather come off the cuff,
Yeah, I think that's the best way of doing it. Good. So it's just first Tony Hawk game that you played, and then first game online.
Well, first one ever played would be the Tony Hawk 1 demo from the Pizza Hut, which I'm sure all of us remember. Do you remember that game?
Yep. I don't remember much playing it, but I do remember it. Yes.
We picked it up, my brother and I. This is when it was out through Pizza Hut, and we had this silly theory that I was better at tricks and he was better at grinds. So we'd spend a minute each and then swap, and I'd do all the tricks and he'd do all the grinds, and we'd try and get the highest score. We played that for, when it came out, man, it always had that feeling of you could be way much better than what you were, and you could always improve from the next round to the next round. So we played it a lot as kids, but we had no idea like of what eventually would come of it. But to actually play, one of the games seriously and online probably wasn't until Tony Hawk 4. Well, yeah, definitely wasn't until Tony Hawk 4. There's a little bit of an interesting story behind that as well, man, because we both had our PS2 onlines, but we were only playing SOCOM. And there was this little kid around the corner from us who, he really wanted to be our friend. His name was Ash. Bless the kid's little heart. And one day he brought Tony Hawk 4 over. And we took it online and we just instantly fell in love with it, man. The whole idea of every room you went in, people were trying out for clans and this, you're not good enough because you can't get 1 mil, so you can't join. And the homie list that they had, and on my first day playing it, on this guy's game, I started my own clan with this random guy I met. Never saw him again, of course. But from that moment on, I was just hooked. And I thought I need to have this game. So my brother and I basically convinced him to swap his copy of Tony Hawk 4 with us for this game called Largo Winch, which is the worst PS2 game you can ever possibly imagine. Really, it was fucking terrible. But we convinced him it was this awesome game, and he swapped with us, and we just kept his game basically, and then never saw the kid again. Yeah,
that's
and then
cool.
from that moment on, man, it was the main game online I was playing, and I was playing it more than SOCOM, and it was great back in the day. When you had so many rooms up, and every room you joined, there was always someone that was better than you, or a whole bunch of people that were worse than you. So you could always find somewhere where you could you could be the best player in the server, and you could own everybody. And it just kept you coming back. It felt like you never see everyone that was playing, and there was always a team that was better than you that you could aspire to join. And it just had such a vibrant, active community back then.
Yeah, it definitely did.
And it was lots of fun.
How old were you?
12. Yeah, I had my PS2 online a week before my birthday. Because, the magazines that you used to get for PlayStation, and they give you demo discs, and they show you, footage of upcoming games, and etc.
Yeah, I was telling Drist about that. Tips and tricks and shit like that.
Yeah. What did they call it? It was just called PlayStation 2 magazine or something. But they showed SOCOM on there. And I must have watched that SOCOM online video fucking 100 times. Just waiting to get my own online and get to play it. Did you get it?
Dude, I think I was just about to say. I think I got the same fucking one where the what would that be? The front of the magazine was SOCOM, and it had a guy pointing, and then a squad around him.
Yeah, it had Navy SEALs on the front. Yeah. It was the next generation of gaming or something. And it just took me by storm, man. I couldn't wait to get it. So I got it a week before my 12th birthday. And of course now I'm 28, so that's bloody 16 years or so I think I've played Tony Hawk. It's a long time.
It is a long time.
Yeah, long time.
So you always had broadband. You never had to play on dial-up?
Yeah, we got broadband really early. We're quite lucky. My dad used to run his own business out of the house, so he got the high-speed internet for that, and to support our computers and our consoles as well.
See, I missed out on most of the prime times, SOCOM 2, especially, because I didn't even have broadband until 3, I think it was. I think I had broadband when 3 was out, and then I for sure had it when Combined Assault came out.
Well, you're not the only one. I remember, Crad and I, back in the day, used to play a lot of King of the Hill, and, we kind of buddied up a bit, because I was from England, so, broadband, even then, being broadband, it wasn't that quick, so connecting to, independent hosts in America, you would still lag, and he had dial-up, so, him and I would never win the King of the Hill games, even though we were probably, better than most of the guys. So we sort of buddied up and we played together, and complain about how it's bullshit that we never win and we can never get the crown and all this sort of shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had broadband quite early, and played a lot of SOCOM around that time and a lot of Tony Hawk. Those were my two main games. And a bit of a latecomer to the later games in the series, really. I stayed on Tony Hawk 4 right till the very end. I remember when they put up the message saying they were taking the servers down, and they were going to do it on the first day of the new year. I don't remember exactly what year it was, but Like, I was so upset about them taking down the servers, and I just kept my PlayStation 2 online,
Yeah.
and I didn't turn it off. And I thought, if I'm online, they can't just kick me out. So I just stayed online and kept it on for like a week straight until I realised, like, okay, they're actually not taking it down on the date that they said they were.
Right.
It probably stayed up for like another 4 months or something after that.
Yeah, then it just randomly shut off.
It did, yeah. That's when I eventually migrated over to Thug 1. But at the time, it was very reluctantly. I really liked Tony Hawk 4 and just wanted to stay playing Tony Hawk 4.
So, is that your favorite one?
It's so difficult to say these days, man.
Yeah.
It's so difficult to say. And there's so much that happened in between, like, obviously starting at 12 years of age and then the servers being shut off, like joining TO and, meeting people like Diablo and Smoke and coming into the improv world, playing like KXTH with all of those guys. And
Oh, you were a part of that. That's pretty bad.
yeah, I was a part of that. But
I don't think I ever joined.
it was me and Crad, and we would basically like never win because of our connection. So we would just get quite frustrated by it. Not to say that we didn't enjoy it, and like when there was less than full rooms, sometimes we'd win. But whenever it was a full room and they were hosting like the games where they stored points and stuff, it was just too laggy for the pair of us. So we never really like got any reputation in that sort of context. It didn't really kick off for me, I suppose, until I joined TO and made all the transfers in the TO video, which just, like, for the Tony Hawk 4 standard at the time, especially with you not being around, just blew the game out of the water. Nobody really touched it after that.
I wasn't around during that time?
No, you'd stopped playing at this point, yeah.
Okay. Do you remember what year that was?
I don't remember, man, but I know it basically just wrecked my whole summer. Like, I just spent the whole summer inside trying to hit these, like, ridiculous transfers.
You were probably, like, what, in high school at that time, then?
Mate, I must have been about 14 to 15.
Oh, really? Damn.
Somewhere in that window, yeah. Somewhere in that window.
Oh, it was way the fuck off, then. Well, not really. Kind of. I don't know.
Well, I don't know what high school means. It's different terminology over here in England.
Yeah, high school would be, like, what would that be? 14 to 18? 15? Yeah, it's 4 years. Yeah.
It was probably the year coming into being 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. And I was already done?
I think so, man. Yeah, I didn't see you around.
That's hard to believe.
I have this really strange memory, man, of like the first time I saw you actually online. I told you about this before. I don't know if you remember, though.
I don't. Dude, my memory is going to shit. Like, when it comes to this game, at least. I mean, it's not bad outside of here, but when it comes to this, it's fucking... There's just so much shit, Well,
it's not exactly something that should be prioritized in one's memory anyway. I mean, if it's all you're doing, which I was, like, for a number of years... Like most people will know, I took this game way too seriously, like for a long time, and it's why I stopped playing, because I thought, like, fuck me, I'm getting old. I should go actually do something useful with my life, go and make a career. Because I always wanted to be a pro gamer. I just picked all the wrong games and sort of like had a bit of a dream that I wouldn't let die with this. But it's very much gone now. Don't still cling to that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, I had this this memory of you. First time I saw you online, you'd made this London improv video, and I really wanted to join THO. So I was like, Mister, watch me. And I tried to, like, replicate your improv run, like, trick for trick, moment for moment. And I was just going to restart and trying it over and over and over and over. And you were like, oh, honestly, I have no idea what the hell you're doing. And then you logged off.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That was so long ago there, man. I must have been like, that was 13 and a half maybe. And I was still really bad and still, like, getting to grips with all the stuff. But,
man, I was an asshole.
No, not at all. Dude, you watched me for like half an hour before you said, actually, I really don't know what you're trying to do here. And then just left.
Yeah, I think I remember you talking about it now, but I still don't remember the moment. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was ages ago, man. And for you, it was probably like, it's fleeting. For me, it was like the first time seeing the great MistaFreeze, so it's stuck in my memory.
The great MistaFreeze. That's funny. Let's see. I just had the questions pulled up. It's pretty funny that I don't remember all the questions in a row by now, even though this is the 12th episode.
They change person to person, don't they? By the way, do stop me if I'm just ranting on. Don't let me go like way off topic, because I will just keep talking.
Oh, we're doing good so far. We got a couple questions down. So favorite players and why, I guess, would be the next one. We'll just go down the list.
Today or over the years, or like
I've always tried to do like by time if you can. Like when you first started, you have favorite players, and then as you evolve, and then you get there's new players, and just kind of do it as like a timeline.
Okay.
Yeah, if you can.
I think like the first bunch of influential players for me are old nemesis that I used to have on Tony Hawk 4, none of which you'll probably know. They're like people that could get a few more million than me in Trick Attack, and it was like, fuck you, man, I want to be better than you,
Right.
And we'd do like TA battles and shit. And there was one guy in particular called Hellraiser. Maybe you've heard of the name, or you remember him.
I definitely remember Hellraiser. Yeah.
You do remember him.
Yeah, because he showed me all like the lines and shit like this back in the day. I'm pretty sure it's the same one.
Yeah, it's the same one, yeah. So he was always like a good couple of steps ahead of me in the progression of the game. So when I was able to like beat him at TA, he'd be like, "Oh, TA doesn't matter, man. It's all about graph now." And I'd be like, "Fuck!" So I have to learn to play graph, And then it was all about King of the Hill, and then it was all about improv and style. And he was just always like that sort of guiding light, I suppose, on the game. But at the same time, he was like the one person that I really wanted to be better than. So he was sort of my first like idol, I suppose. And then when he stopped playing and when I sort of surpassed him, it was yourself, funnily enough, and Give Me Ice. I'm sure you remember Give Me Ice. Both
you guys made a couple videos together, or at least one for sure.
Yeah, and of course I really wanted to be in THO, so like he was really supportive, and you were always like that many steps ahead of him. So you two were sort of like my PS4 idols, for sure. And when THO TV1 came out, it obviously became Nacho, like with his editing style and all the like epic transfers that he was doing. Really weird, but at the time, because I was so like young and naive, man, I thought that Nacho like must have an agent or some shit, and he must be like a professional that gets paid to play the game.
Oh.
Like, I really thought this when I was a kid, and I really wanted to join the team and like be part of that sort of like professional outlet, And of course, that isn't what it is in the slightest. But I was very, very naive and genuinely thought that at the time. And after Nacho, man, it's probably like the Thug 1 giants. So it would be like Alec. Alec really influenced my gameplay. Thug 1, Sicko. Mont, of course. I'm trying to think of some others. Like so many people always tend to quote the real old school guys like Draco and Bass and etc. But I never really played with them. I never really saw them around. They were sort of a bit before me, I guess, or I was still on Tony Hawk 4 while they were doing all their stuff on Thug 1. So I never really saw them, man. I kind of like skipped over them. But the main Thug 1 player for me definitely was Alec. Like when he released that, what was it called, like Alec Sex or something like that, that had the Horse the Band song. I'm sure some people will know what video I mean. That just changed the way I saw improv like forever, and it really like inspired me to keep playing and to be as good as him.
Let me stop you right there. Was that as influential or more influential than KSK's Manhattan video?
Oh, good question.
Yeah, because I'm just curious.
I have
to you personally,
overlooked it.
It doesn't mean one's better than the other, but I'm just kind of curious.
I think I might have been a bit late to it because I didn't see it when it first came out. Because during that time, I was still playing Tony Hawk 4 and was adamant like that Tony Hawk 4 was the best game, and that I wasn't going to migrate over. So I think I missed it when it first came out, and when I did like get round to seeing it, it was at a time when BS had already been discovered. So it was just a little bit like underwhelming, I suppose. But it's very hard for me to personally make a judgment call on that, and I don't want to say it's an underwhelming video or that it's not like historically relevant or anything like this. It's just that it wasn't of the right time when I saw it for it to have as much of an impact as what I think it does for lots of other players.
Yeah.
But looking back on it, there's no denying it's a fantastic video, and it definitely shaped the game.
Yeah, that was one of the only Thug videos I watched. I watched it when it first came out, and that was like one of the only ones I was like, this could theoretically make me play the game, but I still didn't like it enough to. But I was still like, okay, this is badass. But that, and obviously the TLTVs. But.
Oh, of course, yeah. TLTVs and the THOTVs were like ridiculous. Watching the TLTVs, especially as it had so much Tony Hawk 4 content in the first half, like TLTV 2. Yeah. That was at a stage when I had been playing Tony Hawk 4 online for a good while, like a good number of years, and I saw that and was just like, who the fuck are these guys? And why are they so much better than me? After I'd been playing for so long, I thought like I was easily like top players on the game. And I didn't expect some people that I've never heard of to have made a video like 6 years ago that just had content in it that I've never seen or even comprehended before. And that's very much what TLTV2 was when I first saw that.
Sure. Did you watch TLTV1 like at any time that would have been relevant for you? Or did you watch it closer to when TLTV2 was already out?
TLTV1...
Because that was like mainly Tony Hawk 4, I think.
Yeah... What's the one that had like the whole first half that was Tony Hawk 4? Is that TLTV 1?
Yeah. I was just about to say.
That's the one I meant then. Yeah, that's the one I meant.
But
the same applies to seeing like the Gonzo college clips. When he did like the whole jump off the kiosk thing.
Yeah. That was TLTV 2. That's the one that's in college?
Yes, yeah. And they did the bounce off of like where the water fountain is, yeah.
Ah, shit. Now I don't know. But anyways, yeah. TLTV1 was the one that had like the 80s pop song or rock song or whatever in the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck, can't
Kenny Loggins. That's it. Highway to the Danger Zone.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, what I said, I mean for both. Because I watched both of them together, and it was just like, who the fuck are these guys? And why haven't I heard of them? And why are they so much better than me? You know what I mean? Because at the time, there was nobody on Tony Hawk 4 that could really compete with me, like, style-wise. And it's just because, I guess, it was so late in the game and everyone had moved on.
It's the only reason I ever got anything out of it that people think I'm so good is because everyone else moved on. If they kept playing, I'm very positive they would have been a lot better. So.
Probably so, man. Probably so. I know I was very late to the Fug 2 party. Like, I remember not playing Fug 1 and having people on Tony Hawk 4 online saying, like, I'm going to play Fug 2. And I hadn't had either of them. So that was like how late it was before I actually migrated over into the later games.
Yeah, see, I had gotten them when I got Thug 2 when it came out and Thaw, but I still would play like Tony Hawk 4 on the IP thing. I was like, fuck these games.
yeah, same as that. I just didn't get on with them at first. Like the whole speed was different and the whole physics was different, and I found that I was like bailing in situations that I just couldn't explain. And losing speed randomly. And it didn't take much to sort of disenfranchise me from it because I liked Tony Hawk 4 so much. Like, you could have done the tiniest thing and I would have been like, nah, fuck this, I'm going back to Tony Hawk 4.
Yeah, that's the same issue I had. And now I play this and I'm like, alright, I see. I can see now. Like, this game is... Well, Thug Pro is kind of an unfair comparison to the other ones, but yeah. Now I've kind of played this a lot more, and I'm like, okay, I could see me getting into this more.
Well, I think you've got into Fug Pro a lot recently, man. I remember when you first started, and you were saying, like, no, I'm not playing, I'm just going to observe. I'm not going to play at all.
Yeah. It took a long time, yeah.
It's a hell of a good game, this. I mean, we'll probably come to talk about that later, but yeah it's a hell of a good game.
Let me ask, though, so you kind of talked about into the Thug 1 era and stuff. Is there any more, like, brand new within the past couple years favorite players that aren't just, like, obviously Alec and then basically the other ones you talked about already?
Yeah, sorry. As I say, I will go off topic and just go on a tangent and forget what you originally asked me, so thanks for hauling me back to the original question.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about more current, and maybe that wasn't even a thing that you thought about, but yeah.
Well, definitely Vega, no doubt about it. Vega's one of my favourite players, and he's come a long way since I first met him, because I didn't know who he was. He used to come in my stream sometimes and just watch me play. And he'd kind of he'd agree with stuff I was saying about the community and about the game and the direction that it's going. Then we'd start playing together, and I give him some hints and tips and stuff. But these days, man, he's definitely left the nest, so to speak, metaphorically. You know, and he's come into his own playership entirely, and he's, you know, one of the better players on the game, and full credence to him for that, man. He's very good. I think Q Levy is an exceptionally underrated player. Q Levy is so fast, and nobody really seems to recognize like just how fast and how good he is today. He's really good. And there's a lot of people, like, not so much for their playership, but more like their personalities and their personal approaches to me that I have a lot of respect for. Too many to name, probably, but ironically, you're meeting one of them next week. Shane is one of them. Ghost is another one of them. Bombs, of course. Bombs and I have a lot of history together. Funnily enough, playing SOCOM together too. So there's a lot of people today that I do have like untold amounts of respect for throughout the game. But it's just so hard to name all of them, and I know I'll come away from this and be like, "Fuck, why didn't I say this guy?" Or,
it
"Fuck,
always
why didn't I say
happens.
that guy?"
Yeah, it always happens.
Yeah, I definitely Vega, Q Levy, Shame, Ghost, and Bombs, and that's all that really comes to my mind. Sorry if I forgot anyone blatantly obvious.
Yeah, there's quite a damn few. Like, you think that, you know, this game's really not that big, but there's so many good players. Just like, Jesus. Yeah. But the top tier ones definitely, you know, some of the ones you named, they're definitely, yeah.
If we come later to talk about like how old players match up to new ones or vice versa, and we can go further into that.
Yeah, we're good as long as we leave me out of it.
Yeah.
Don't compare me to anybody.
So MistaFreeze is fucking dog shit today. Worst player in the world.
Well, yeah. Well, in comparison to like what these people are doing, it's pretty much it. I just haven't left my nest yet. I'll work on it, but.
Yeah, there's so much crazy shit today, man. I don't think all of it is necessarily good for the game, and I mean it's really up to you how much that we want to talk about that, you know. But
well, definitely. Let's get these generals done, and then, you know, it's only been not even a half hour. So, do you have a favorite trick for style?
Yeah, favorite trick.
Yeah, it's hard to.
I mean, I've sort of become known for this one, haven't I? The Bam Bam there.
Yeah, kind of.
I'm
just not a fan. I don't know.
I like it just because it's such a short animation, and
it is short. Yeah.
If you're quick, you can roll it, and you know not many people were doing that when I first started doing that. And you had someone like Bikes, or no disrespect to Bikes, or he released a whole bunch of created tricks as like a Christmas package. And one of the created tricks was the rolled Bam Bam there, and I sort of thought like fuck you a little bit. Like why are you
was it Bikes here or was it Seawalk?
No, it was Bikes, so yeah.
I know Seawalks made a lot of it.
Just do that with one button now, and I was like, why would you do that? That kind of depletes from the skill of the game, but like, it's whatever. I've nothing against him for it. I can see why people would want to do it because it is a cool looking trick. But kickflip, backflip too. I really like that one.
I do like that, yeah, and that's even old school, so I like it even more.
It is old school, and you can land it in some great gaps. Like, let's just see if I can do something here, just ad hoc. Probably fuck it up now, knowing my luck. But you can land it like off ledges and then do a late grind. You know, I fucked it up there, but you've seen me do it.
You for sure could do a grind to grind too. That wouldn't be as bad as just straight off a ledge to a grind, right?
Yeah, you can. You can even do it ground to ground, which I think I did in one video in Tampa. I'm sure you probably saw that, right?
I did, yeah. God, that's already like, how old is that already?
Oh, it's got to be a couple of months, maybe even longer, man. Time's just been flying by recently. Yeah, it might even be a year.
Did you see Vega fucking do it was a Misty Flip, legit Misty Flip, on the ground to a rail? That's like a fluke thing, right? But
yeah, what level was that? Was in like some American Wasteland level, wasn't it?
No, it was in Manhattan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was on this game in Manhattan. He just got off his board, did a Misty Flip, and I slow-moed the shit out of it. It was in a doubles project. This fucking crazy.
I believe it, man. He's really like took some concepts that I don't want to say like I grandfathered or whatever because that's egotistical, but there are certain things that like he never used to be able to do well that I could do really well that he now does even better than me.
Yeah, well, in this level, I don't know how to describe where the fuck it's at. It's I don't know how to describe it, but he does like a barrel roll, the special, like, is it a special trick in this game or is it just an indie with a flip?
No, it's like a square trick. square
Okay.
trick.
Yeah. Well, he does a barrel roll off the ground, but he goes up like 3 ledges. It's fucking crazy. I've never seen anything like it. Anyways.
I'm pretty sure he showed me it.
He's got some quick ass fingers.
No, he is very good. But of course, he's got a lot of practice on Midnight Club too. So coming into Tony Hawk, it's not like this is his first console game that he's exceptionally good at. You know, he holds world records on Midnight Club 2. You got to give him respect for that.
Yeah, fucking nerd.
No, fair play to him, man.
That's funny. Yeah. So let's see. I should have it memorized, but I don't. So favorite video, and then a favorite video series.
Favorite video.
That's also hard to do, and if you have to list a few, that's fine too.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
And what I've ran into is, this is probably a really dumb question. I should take it out. I should take out the video series part because a lot of people's favorite videos are part of series. So,
yeah. I could feel that. I'm gonna try and like draw a distinction between the two. Favorite video, man. I think, I'm going to be a bit selfish here, and sorry everybody, but I think my favourite video is the Doubles Prov video that you and I made like a year and a half ago. I really like that video, and I've watched it so many times.
The thing about that, too, is you picked every song, and it was fucking perfect. Like, the variety of songs, it was just like, it didn't feel like a 20-something minute long video, to me.
Well, that's why, part of the reason why I picked it, actually, is because I think favourite videos was always going to be about content, and so the longer the video, the more the content, and therefore like the more reason it should be considered as a favorite. And that was a really long video. I think it's like 23 minutes or something, isn't it? It's really long.
It's pretty long, yeah, for sure.
But it's edited well, if I dare say so myself. It's probably got some of the best Fug Pro improv content I've ever put out. And I've always wanted, like, because I mentioned earlier, you're one of my first idols in the game. I always wanted to do a video with you where we were, like, on the same caliber. And we made, like, a fucking epic video together. So, in a weird way, it's a little bit of a dream come true, So that has to be my favorite. But, excluding myself, man. It's really hard.
I actually forgot about that one, too.
It's really hard.
Yeah, I think people should watch that video because it's got some. I mean, like, none of my Tony Hawk 4 stuff is save states in there because, like, some transfers I've used save states in, but like that video and then 1 Foot Nose Manual doesn't have a single save state, and like the risky improv that we both do in that is pretty badass.
Yeah,
so I do like it.
It's off the charts, man. Yeah. And I named it THBS Outtakes just because it was so long, and I really wish I didn't do that because it's just a long improv video. There's nothing outtakey about it. I think God, I'm going to stay in theme and be selfish again. I think the one I made with Vega, the Element of Air, that's another one of my favorites. But you're always going to have like this sort of inclination towards your own projects because they're your own babies, aren't they? And they're your own like products of work and labor.
Right.
So those two are definitely up there as my personal favorites, albeit that I made both of them. So again, excuse me for that. But from somebody else, man, it's really hard to say. I liked the SMG video, the first one. I really liked that.
Yeah.
But again, that's a series.
Yeah, I mean, if I was inclined to say
from this, and I'm gonna think, fuck, why didn't I say this video? That's what's gonna happen.
If I was inclined to say like my favorite video, I'd probably go towards like the SMG 1 and 2. But that's because I was a part of it. It's recent, these types of things. If I had to really think on it, that probably wouldn't be my go-to. Yeah.
Yeah, no, same. I really liked, is it TRTV4? Again, that's part of the series. What's the one that KSK did with Fate, where he like tells the narrative, and he has that Earth to Bella song by Thrice?
I think that's
What's
4.
that
That's the one that's definitely a narrative-based thing, where he stares out into the abyss, basically, and it's like a dream state type of video. And it's
he goes out of bounds in Manhattan.
Yeah.
That was definitely up there for me as well. First time I watched that, man, that's a video that you walk away with chills from. It was really well done. So
it hasn't aged the greatest, just because we've been spoiled by camera angles.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the many benefits of Fug Pro, undoubtedly. But yeah, I will go with that. I don't want to go with my own fucking videos because that's just stupid. Although I do mean what I said around them. But yeah, definitely that video.
So if you had to choose a series, whether you're a part of it or not, what would that be?
THO, man. I'm sure everybody fucking says that, dude. The THO series is like incredible. Yeah, I also think that the doc videos go incredibly underrated. not many people give them the credit they deserve. The doc videos are fantastic.
For sure. Did you see the latest one? There was one that they made that had like a lot of New Orleans crazy shit in it.
Yeah, that's the one, man. Yeah, they're old school Fug 2 players. Not many people know. Like they've been playing for fucking years. They've been playing for some of them as long as me. They've been playing for a long time, and they're really good. And they have their own little community, and they don't really care like what any of us are doing.
Yeah, they're just like, fuck these guys. We'll just do our own thing, and they do it really well.
And they deliver. Yeah, they absolutely deliver. So, like, big shout out to the Dot guys, 100%. But it has to be TLTV, man. Like THOTV. The editing back then just blew my mind. And like, if you played back then and you didn't want to be part of THO, so you could be in those videos, then you're either lying or you're lying. Like everybody wanted to be in THO for the videos back then.
I thought it would be cool to like make a THO TV6 where I'd edit it, because I'm getting that style of editing down pretty decent. Where I just have like a bunch of community people just put THO in their name, and I just make THO TV6. But it'd be stupid,
Well, it'd be a parody, wouldn't it? But you could put it off as not a parody and actually have a serious.
Have it be serious. Make a THO TV6. But
if you could get in touch with Nacho, man, I'm sure he'd just be like, "Yeah, that's fine, XD, because that's the type of guy that he is. He wouldn't mind at all."
Well, actually, he could just come back and fucking do it with. He could probably get everyone back in THO. I know I wouldn't join again, probably, but he could get a lot of people back. I mean, could you imagine?
Oh, he could, yeah.
Yeah, could you imagine if he came
back? He still has so much influence today. If he came back and made the clan overnight, like, how many people would seriously consider leaving their team to join that? And I don't want to speak for other people, but, I mean, I would be like, oh, God, that's on the radar. I'll watch that blip.
Yeah, I would watch that shit. Make a THO TV6, Nacho, and I would watch that. I wonder what the hell the guy's doing. He definitely did some good shit with his life, though, because back when I was talking to him, he was kind of overweight and stuff like this, and he would always talk about, I'm starting to lose weight, I'm starting to do these things. He was like dating a woman, like really just starting to focus outside of the game, and it was probably the best thing for the guy.
I'm really happy for him.
Yeah.
I think he was probably a lot like me, that we both took the game very seriously at one stage in our life or another, and when that's the case, it can become obsessive and it detracts from other areas of your life. And it's just not constructive to do that in the long term. But as I understand, the last time I spoke to him, he got a job doing some type of like graphic design / video editing for some big German company, which is totally up his street. Yeah, and exactly what he would deserve and where he'd thrive. So, happy for the guy, man. And I don't see him online on any of the platforms ever. So he's clearly got better shit to do, and good for him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're too busy to even come on or to even bother thinking about the game, I guess that's that's probably a good thing. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. We'll get into that probably later on.
Right.
So, favorite level and then favorite created park.
Favorite level has to be San Francisco from Tony Hawk 4. Yeah. Obviously, Manhattan from Fug 1.
Yeah.
Australia. I'm going with all the generics here. Australia for Fug 2. And on Fug Pro, I'm going to have to go Chicago, man. Like, when this first came out, this level was this is all I played.
This level's crazy.
It's so good. And,
I don't know if people realize all the shit they've done to this level. I mean, all the wall ride stuff is just fucking unreal. Even I like this level.
They kind of fucked it, though, the devs a bit. And they're going to start sounding a little bit cynical here, but the way they've took away Tony Hawk 4 Boost Plant, they've really fucked with all the different shit you could do with this level. And when I first came to this game, it was the biggest attraction, man, because it was this or Fug 1 PS2, and I same principle. Didn't want to leave Fug 1 PS2.
Yeah,
it was very much like my home nest, and coming here and being able to do massive Tony Hawk 4 Boost Plants and wall ride everything and wall ride bounce everything in this level. It just took me by storm, man, and it kept me coming back just to play this one level. And I think, like, when people saw me play, I don't want to, like, sound egotistical saying this here, but the way I was playing this level, like, reformed the way that people saw the game and what could be done in the game with Tony Hawk 4 BPs. And now, of course, like, everyone sort of adopted that style and it's been amalgamated and everyone can do it now and it's not a big deal. But when I first came to this game, man, nobody was playing this game like that. Nobody was playing this game like that. And it was all because of this level. And because of what they allowed with all the wall rides. It just completely changed the way that the game was played for me. And I think for a lot of people, too, by proxy. So yeah, definitely this level for Fug Pro. And I never played enough Wasteland to have a favorite level, to be honest.
Fair enough. How about a creative park?
Um, Hard question, man. Do you ever play the Elysium parks back in the day?
For sure. About the Death or Glory parks?
Yeah, the ones where like if you make one wrong ollie, then you just die. Yeah,
Yeah. Did
yeah.
you do all
Those
three
are
of them?
always fun. No. I think I only ever played one of them, man. But I was really blown away by the concept when I first saw them. And do you remember a player called Mr. X?
Yep.
Yeah, he used to make a lot of mazes, right? Like I used to really like his mazes.
He
were
streams
same.
now.
Yeah,
he streams
actually,
every
I have him on my bloody Facebook. His real name's Terrence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. X's mazes. Yeah, he's got some pretty cool creative parks. He's also like some of them are like crazy hard challenges. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. They'd start you off in a hole, and it'd be like find your way out, and you'd have to like set cuss glitch up here, and then like do some funky ass wall ride off of this, where if you were just an inch short, you wouldn't make it, etc. Yeah, they were always really fun, and Crad and I spent like many hours in those trying to do all of those parks, and everyone that we had, we beat. Yeah, I guess that's that question.
Yeah. So this is gonna be another really hard one, and you can name a couple. It's fine, but most underrated player or players.
Ooh, okay. I mean, it's an interesting axis, the question, isn't it? Because I don't think really underrated players that like don't deserve to be underrated. I don't think they stay underrated for very long these days.
Yeah.
So
sure.
so like if you'd asked me the question a year ago, the list would be completely different than what it is now. Because most of them are ended up being like an SMG, or they've ended up being took on by good clans and etc.
Yeah.
But now I definitely say that Q Levy is one of the most underrated players. I think he's so good, really, and I'm not just saying this like as a favour to him. He's not paying me after the podcast or anything. But I really think he's so good, and he takes my style and like makes me look bad at it. And I remember saying to him, "Dude, you can't use my skater because you're making me look bad." Because he's just so fast. It's ridiculous how quick he is.
You think he's faster than Red Bull? Red Bull's pretty fucking fast. Did you see that Fury of the Bull video?
I think so, man.
The latest one?
Yeah, the Fury of the Bull. Yeah, you linked me. I watched it. Yeah.
Yeah, what'd you think of it?
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I think he's really quick as well. Yeah, and he does all the sort of funky stuff, like when you have just the tiniest gap to pull something off, and you take the risk and you put it off anyway. Like, for me, that's really what makes a good player, is taking risks and making them successful. But in a way, that's calculated risk, and calculated risk is like a product of game knowledge, so it brings everything together. And like Red Bull does it really well, but I would even go as far as to say that Q Levy does it better, dude. Like if you watch Q Levy just playing live, the amount of rolls that he does and the amount of like downtime that he has is so minimal. Like he's just so quick, man. He's just so quick. And also Nit. I think Nit's been underrated like forever. He's been around for so long. He was one of the last guys playing Fug 1 with us. And he's never really like been recognised as the really great, rounded, knowledgeable player that he is.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Other than improv and transfers, what else do you like to do online when you're playing?
King of the Hill. Like a little bit of King of the Hill with no walk, especially. That's fun. Yeah. I think walk's a bit gimmicky, dude. Like I'll show you something here, which I know I've done in games before, and you've seen it. And it's just fucking hilarious. So people that are watching, you can try this sometime. Luckily, it spawned us in the right place. So if you're on the crown and you're coming this way, right, you go around this corner and then just get off your board and jump here.
Yeah, it's such a
you know the one.
Spot.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Hey, are those planters grindable?
Which ones? These ones here?
Yeah, on the left side.
Up here?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think so. No.
No, I wonder if they are on 4. Yeah.
We can check. But yeah, when you have walk like that, it's just broken, man. Because people will follow you, and they'll see that the arrow is pointing left, so they'll go like this.
Yeah, you'll go around a few times and think, wait a second.
They just miss you every time, yeah. And if you remember, like, back in that King of the Hill tournament that they hosted, it was so easy for me to beat. I can't even remember who it was. Was it Behemoth? Like, it was so easy for me to beat him in Alcatraz, because, no offense to the guy, he's a great player. but I'm way more experienced at Tony Hawk 4 levels, and I had walk. And it was just like every corner I went round, I was just getting off my board and just waiting for him to go past me, you know. And they got so pissed off that they made us do a rematch, and I just beat him again. But yeah, King of the Hill with walk on like this engine, it's really
not a fan.
It's not fun. Yeah, and it's really like overpowered to the person on the crown. They have a massive advantage if they use walk properly. So King of the Hill with no walk is great fun. Obviously BJ, we do a lot of BJ together.
Yeah, you know what's funny
Don't take that the wrong way, guys.
99% of the community has no idea what BJ is.
Yeah.
They still don't. Yeah, it's just like
hence the disclaimer statement.
I'll be in a lobby. I'll be like, BJ? Question mark? Like, oh yeah, I want a BJ. I'm like, nah, man.
Yeah, blackjack.
Yeah.
So try to get scores, and I'll show you something cool. Actually, you won't be able to see it from my screen, but there's a way. I figured this out like ages ago. There's a way that you can perfectly get 1, 3, 3, 7 every round, and it's so easy.
Yeah. There's a formula.
So you get it every round easy. Yeah.
There's a formula on Tony Hawk 4 as well with all wall push, but I can't remember what it was. Pants in a Can found it, and I never wrote it down. It makes me sad. But if you can exactly do it without like even getting 10 points. Yeah, it's crazy.
No, I believe it. Yeah, there's ways that you can do all sorts of stuff. And obviously, we used to do score challenges, didn't we? Like, try and get exactly 1,000,000 points in half a minute or whatever. That was a lot of fun. And
really you still have to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in one combo.
I do still need to do that, yeah.
You can do it.
Dude,
sure.
honestly, I was very surprised that you did it so quickly after me. I was like, yeah, I've left these guys in my dust. And then the next day, you were like, here you go, try and get this.
Like the million? Yeah.
The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah.
Did you ever get 1 through 8 though?
No.
Yeah.
No, that's what I mean. Sorry, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
In one combo.
Did you see the negative 1, 3, 3, 7 in one combo?
Well, you did that too?
Yeah, it's an SMG video 1. Yeah.
If it was around the time that we were doing all of that shit, I would have seen it, man. Okay. But yeah.
That's a good one for you to try. Try getting that in one combo.
I'm not gonna try it right now. I'll just make a fool out of myself. But yeah,
you're much better off just improving right now. Some people can watch the madness. I think the last general question that I like to ask everyone, and you'll definitely have some say in this, if you could change anything on Thug Pro, what would it be? Obviously, boost plants right now is broken. A lot of people aren't happy with them, but other than that.
Definitely the boost plants. I don't know why they've done that at all.
I can ask Quaz. I'm gonna have him on in a couple of weeks, and I don't want to like throw these types of questions at him too much. You know, I want to like go in there and ease into it. I mean, and they have their reasons. I'm sure they like. If I ask him, I'm sure he's gonna have a reason, and maybe he wasn't the one to make the decision. I don't know, but.
Well, I as far as I understand, right, their reasoning is that they don't want people breaking their game too much. And I can get that, but they're not fixing the components of the game that are actually broken. They're fixing components that are just fine. This is my view, right? Because what makes a game is that everybody is playing from the same baseline and the same perspective. So what ruined that on Thug Pro was mods. And as you know, for years, way before it became like a current topic, I was saying people are modding, people are scripting, people are cheating. And like the response to me saying this was, oh, you just think that anyone better than you is a cheat because you're an asshole, blah, blah, blah. And so I sort of just stopped talking about it. I gave up about it. So they've made all of these modifications since and all these changes to the game. Like they first of all, they fucked Thug 1 BP. And now they fucked Tony Hawk 4 BP. But they haven't fixed the real thing that's actually breaking their game, which is people scripting butt slap. And that's always been the thing that's been breaking their game from the very start. And the very thing that's been setting the game at a not even level from player to player to player.
So when you say scripting butt slap, like there's the people that are doing like fucking 8 of them?
No, even just regular 4 or 5s, you know?
Yeah, and I've always said, I was like, I've done 4x butt slap one fucking time. I think I've done it one time. And it just blew my mind, you know? And, like, my fingers aren't the slowest. I'm like, yeah, I'm 30. But I could spam the shit out of my controller. Now, I didn't try it with keyboard, though. What do you think about keyboard?
I don't know. I don't think it makes that much of a difference, but I could be wrong because I haven't tested it properly. Yeah. But there's people that use, like, game pads that, you know, that question becomes a redundancy and they're still getting, like, 4 or 5s on the regular.
Yeah.
So I just think there's people that are definitely like scripting and cheating, and that's what the mods need to prioritize. So if there's anything that they should change, it should be their just general approach to the community. Is they shouldn't like have a little circle and say, okay guys, we're all the modders here, how do we want to fix the game? When they don't really know that much about the actual game and like the mechanics of the game. Like, sure, don't get me wrong, obviously what they've done here is fantastic, and I'm in no place to criticize what they've done for the community and how they've increased the longevity of the game.
So to play devil's advocate on this, what would you say if they were more focused towards new players as well? Like, not just the online community, but there's a lot of people that play this offline too.
Well, there's a whole community that we have that is, doing our best to enable people to be able to play the game. Like, if someone says, how do you do this? How many people say online, oh, go watch Grand's tutorials? Or, hey, join this Discord and these people will help you.
I guess I don't know. I don't know how many people say that.
It's a lot of... It always happens. I see it all the time. Like, go watch Grand's tutorials. This is how you butt slap. YouTube butt slap tutorial, YouTube boost plant tutorial, etc. So it's not up to them to like compensate for the lower denominator in the situation. I suppose is really the only point there. Is if people want to get better, they'll get better. If they want to complain that they're bad, they'll complain that they're bad. The mods shouldn't be accommodating to those type of people. And every effort they've made so far to sort of fix the game, they've just made it worse. I'm like. In my opinion, anyway. If you go back a year now at gameplay footage and compare it to gameplay footage today, a year ago is going to be better just because you have more ability and you have more capacity. So they've lowered the baseline of the entire game, and for why? I don't see any benefit in doing that. And the fact is, like, no player will now ever be as good as what a player was a year ago because you just can't do the same stuff. They've just took it out of the game. And it's not a sensible approach.
What's an example, other than the Tony Hawk 4 boost plan?
Well, the Thug 1 boost plant as well.
Is that... I thought that was fixed now.
Well, they say they fixed it, but it's different. It's supposed to be based on the way that Thug 1 Tony Hawk Underground 1 boost plant works, but it doesn't really.
It doesn't?
No, I don't think it does.
Just like in terms of like the button pressing and stuff? Or
Yeah.
I can't even fucking do them, so I'm like the worst person to like try to nail this down, but...
You'll find, like, sometimes you'll just do loads and you think, oh, I didn't even really press it that many times. And other times you'll press it, like, fucking shitloads and you'll do, like, one. And it just seems a bit random. But yeah, I think if there's one thing I would change, man, it would be the consultation process. Like, just come and talk to the community first and just say, look, you guys have got a lot of experience playing this game. What do you think about this potential change? What do you think of the pros? What do you think of the cons? And get like a sample from people, so you get some feedback and you can decide whether or not it's a good idea to do it. Like this is the way that every type of business or organization operates in the whole world. Is they go to the experts and they say, what do you guys think? And then they make their decision. And it's just kind of backwards here that they make decisions before asking anybody who actually knows like the information and knows what would be best. So I wish they would change that.
I wonder what their decisions are based off of, though, because they have to be based off of something.
I think, personally, and this is where I'm going to get a bit like conspiracy-esque, is I think people have just been feeding them information that basically tailors to their requirements, Because I used to say, if you want to prove if somebody's using butt slap scripts, get them to do a Tony Hawk 4 boost plant, or get them to do a Thug 1 boost plant, and then you'll see that they're not as fast as they are when they do butt slaps all of a sudden. And now what's happened, is the Thug 1 boost plant and Tony Hawk 4 boost plant have been completely eradicated from the game, as they used to stand as a means of proving that. But people can still script butt slaps, and nothing's changed there. So they haven't fixed the problem, they fixed the identifiers of the problem. And that's just completely driving around the issue. And really what they've done, ironically, is they've encouraged people to use scripts even more. Because now people want to be able to Tony Hawk 4 boost plant like they used to. So they're using mods and scripts to be able to do that. So that they're kind of like facilitating and enabling the problem that they claim that they're fighting. And they're doing it unknowingly. And I would not be remotely surprised if it's a product of bad advice from within the community. And people trying to like defend, themselves and their own agendas.
But if you ask like the average player, not even like just someone that's starting, don't you think most of them would say to leave Tony Hawk 4 Boost Plant the way it is?
What, the way it is now?
No, the way it was.
I would hope they would say that, yeah.
So I wonder how they get the bad advice. That's what I wonder. Is like, how do they get the bad advice?
Right, it's somebody who thinks, oh fuck, if somebody says to me, do a Tony Hawk 4 Boost Plan, I'm going to be exposed as having a butt slap script. I'm going to go speak to the devs and tell them to take Tony Hawk 4 Boost Plan out, and then I can get away with my butt slap script forever, and no one will ever know.
Huh. I guess I wouldn't ever thought of it that way. Yeah. No, it's a perspective that, I don't know if I share or if I disagree with it, but I haven't really thought of it that much about that. I do wonder, like I see people do in videos like 5X, and I'm just like, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, but this is it. I used to always say to them, okay, if you're that fast, then why is it that no other component of your gameplay compares to mine? And then they'd be like, oh, you're just an asshole. And okay, but you haven't answered the question, though. So go and do a Tony Hawk 4 Boost Plant and prove to me that you're faster than me in that context. And then they'd be terrible. They get like 2 or 3. And it would be really obvious that, okay, you just have a script that's pressing X for you. And you don't have it pressing up 2, which is why it works for Butt Slap. But it doesn't work for Boost Plant. And nobody believed me when I was saying this shit some years ago. It's become more of an issue now because of that fucking... What's that mod pack that come out where you could set a button to bounce for you? You know the one?
Oh, I heard of it, but I don't know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if people are doing shit like that, dude, like, who knows, really? And nobody can legitimately claim to know just the extent of modding and cheating that's happening on the game. And if the devs are claiming to like try and fix that with the changes that they're implementing, they're going about it all the wrong way. So there's one change I'd make to Fug Pro. It's just talk to the people in the community. Talk to the people that actually, care about the direction of the game and want to be accountable to it, aren't cheating, and want to get rid of all this sort of stuff and make it a fair game again.
Again, when I talk to Quaz, I'll have to ask him. I didn't say his name. I'll have to ask him the number of people that download and play the game offline versus online. Because, if it's offline, it would be obviously an entirely different thing that they're focusing on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
if the downloads are like in the tens of thousands, that means, even 99% of them are playing it offline. So, it'd be interesting to see. Yeah.
I feel like the devs have some sort of an agenda to control the direction of the online community, and they don't want their game to get too out of hand. I can always remember with Larxian, no disrespect to the guy, he's made those 2 fantastic levels, the other one in the process. And when people made videos on his level, like doing wide bounces and going through the walls and glitching this and glitching that, his comment was, oh God, I've had my level out for 2 minutes and you've broken it already.
Sure.
So for them, it's more about like defending the content and making it integral than it is to like accommodating to the community's game style and approach to the game, and that puts them at odds with one another. And it shouldn't be that way. It should be the devs saying to the community, like, okay, if you guys stop playing, then there's no point me making this game anymore. And you guys are the real enthusiasts. You've been playing for years and years and years. What would you like in your game to make it better? Because ultimately the game is for the community, isn't it? That's the whole point of making it.
Well, yes and no, because the online community is different than the offline community.
Right. Okay, so what you said earlier it now comes more into the light. Yeah, okay, I see what you mean now.
But I don't know. I have no idea, man, like what it's based off of. But, what about, like, so I can do a 4X, right? It's very fucking few and far between. But, like, a 5X with a creative trick would be the same as a 4X, right?
No, I don't think it has that direct of a correlation. No. But I have done 4 times before. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's bloody impossible. But I've played for like tens of thousands of hours, and I've done less than 50 of them over my whole lifetime. So when people are doing like 2 in a row, you've got to raise an eyebrow. You're going to be like, how have you just done that? It's suspicious. And there's been like definitive proof that people have used scripts. Like Edam's come out and he's admitted it. And back in the day on Fug 1 PC, everybody had the mods to basically infinite BS just by holding down the button. And there was the Fug 2 Chad mod. So people know that these things have existed historically and have transferred over into this game, and that they're just very secretive about it. And I just don't think that's a very progressive angle to take for the community or for the game. And again, whenever I raise these things, man, I was always made out to be the bad guy. But it's like, well, no, I'm not the one that's fucking actively cheating the game. That's you. So I'm not the bad guy here. And it's not just like dangerous from a personal point, but if you're cheating, you lower the whole bar of what everybody else does. So it's not just like, oh, you're such a fantastic player and what you did is great, which is what the cheaters want people to think. But it means that like everybody else looks proportionately worse compared to them, and that's a very selfish thing to do. And I just don't have a lot of respect for it, especially the way that they all just lied about it. But I knew for sure they were doing it, and people have come round now. People know that I was right about it now, but at the time, man, I was public enemy #1 for bringing it up. So yeah, I just wish people would be more honest in the community. And one thing I'd change about Fug Pro is have the devs talk to the players.
Yeah. So just to confirm, so like the back to, I don't know why I keep going back to butt slap thing. But so if someone does a couple 4x butt slaps back to back with like a creative trick, right?
Yeah.
Because I know I could do that. I've done that with a creative trick. That's not that hard. It's still kind of hard, but it's definitely doable. But you're talking about if they're doing like 5 or 6 back to back.
Oh, but even 4's multiply, man. Even 4's multiply, because it's not always creative tricks that people do them with.
Well, but they do tricks that don't look like
using a
creative
creative trick to get a 4. Why are you doing that? Is that not in of itself just massively gimmicky? I mean, fair enough. It's not exactly legitimate. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's not exactly illegitimate, as you would define that term.
Right, it wouldn't be necessarily scripts.
Cheap, isn't it?
Yeah. But that wouldn't necessarily be scripts, right?
No, that wouldn't necessarily be script. But
Yeah.
there are players like Prev Fag. I hate to actually name people, but watch that guy, and people have seen it. He's like the worst fucking player ever, and yet he's hitting like 6 or 7 every time. And if he's got it and he's a bit boisterous with it and he doesn't mind if people see him doing it and he has like no shame in saying, no, I'm definitely not cheating, even though he really obviously is, then who has these things that are being a little bit more subtle and more secret about it? Because the question of whether or not it exists isn't the question. The question is just who has it. That's the real question.
Yeah, I wish I knew more about it. I did have to download the God, who was it? Someone made the Tony Hawk 4 Boost Plant mod on this now because it just basically brings it back to the way it was.
Yep.
But no other things change.
Yeah. That's like the anterior mod or something. Someone mentioned it to me earlier, and I said to the guy when he said to me, "Yeah, get this mod." I can't remember who told me, so sorry, I forgot who it was. It was just yesterday as well. But I sort of thought to myself and then said to him, like, this is a real bad state of affairs where I'm considering now getting a mod to restore a game, and it makes me the epitome of hypocritical because I've been so vocally against these things, but the devs are working against the interests of the community so much that I'm now thinking about getting one. So that's a problem that has to be bridged. If they want to fix people cheating, scripting, modding, breaking their game, the way to do it is to not encourage genuine players to get scripts and mods, such as myself, which is really all they've done with their changes. So I've never wanted one, but they took out this Tony Hawk 4 BP, and I've been thinking about it.
Yeah,
it's not the right direction.
It's been tough, Kicks. Like, I want to join like a regular lobby, and then I'll have that mod. I actually took it off because now I just say fuck it, because most lobbies still don't allow scripts. So I just took it off because like a lot of the lobbies I want to join, they wouldn't allow scripts. So I ended up just changing the files back, and I haven't had it for a few weeks now. But it just means I'm not boost planning. So.
But it's tempting to get it, isn't it? And that's the real crux of the argument, is that if they're making legitimate players who don't want to be cheating have no other option, then the ones that are cheating, the argument against them becomes less cohesive because you're doing the same thing as them, really. So they need to, like, I don't know, they need to engage in a proper conversation with the community. They've never done that.
I don't think that they knew people were going to get that pissed off about it. I think if I have a conversation with Quaz in a couple weeks, he's going to be like, oh, shit. And then I'm pretty sure they'll at least make it a toggleable option or they'll just put it back. I do think that. I mean, we'll see.
Well, I'm sure as hell hope they do. I hope you're right about that.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it is the completely reasonable thing to do, isn't it? Is have it as toggleable. So if you don't want it and you're a new player and you think it's dumb, then turn it off in your lobby.
I do question how hard that's going to be, though, for them to implement it. You know, because, I mean, yeah, they're mods, but they don't know how to do everything either.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, maybe I'm really naive about this, but
I hear you.
Like 1 and 0. You know?
I think most people hear it, you know?
I would think it would be much more than just, you know, a 1 and a 0, effectively. Have this on, have this piece of code on, or have this piece of code off. So, but again, maybe I'm really naive about it. In fact, I am very naive.
A strong opinion on it, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, everyone's got opinions, right? And you stated what you thought about it and made your points, so...
Yeah,
I don't see what's wrong with that.
I'd like to see him revert it back, personally. Because, again, like, nobody today can do the same sort of stuff that you could do on the game a year ago. So the whole bar of the game has been lowered by the decision. And that's just never the right direction to go. And it doesn't address the core of the problem, which is that people are scripting, cheating, and breaking the game.
Yes, and then making videos, I guess, of the transfers or whatever they're doing. That'd probably be the biggest thing to you, right? If they were making a video.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really that much of a whether it bothers me or not these days, you know, because I don't really play much these days, and I'm not part of the active community anymore. But if you want longevity in the game, you can't have people that are doing illegitimate stuff and claiming it's legitimate, because you're going to drive legitimate players away, and they're going to think that they're inferior compared to the people that are cheating. And it's going to damage the game in the long run. And everybody has a choice of, like, either amalgamate with the cheats or you know, fall behind, be the chaff. And that's not fair. Like, it's okay if a new technique comes out and if you don't learn it, then you're left behind. But at least you have the fair opportunity to learn it and you have the same playing ground as everybody else. If somebody has, like, secret cheats that they're using, and other people don't have access to it, you don't have a fair game. You don't have a fair playing ground, and you're gonna just drive people away, and it's gonna ruin the game in the long run. And I don't know. I don't think that's very disagreeable of a point. I think it's just an obvious thing.
That's why you have people like me that don't learn anything and just keep doing the same old techniques that have been around forever.
Well, I've been like that recently as well, man. I haven't bothered to learn hops or any of that sort of shit because I just don't care to. But the fact is, if I wanted to, I could call somebody like Vega and say, "Hey, teach me how to hop." You know, whereas if I wanted to 6 times BS, I'd have to call someone and say, "Give me the script that nobody else has, please," and I'll promise I'll keep it a secret. You know, it's a completely different ball game.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I got that ability to where I don't do either one. I just don't care about either one. So I'm kind of sitting here like listening to everyone and I'm like, yeah, that's interesting. Either way, I don't do either one. So yeah, I'm able to just ask and just kind of be that guy that just like is a sponge that just sucks it all in. Because I ain't ever I can barely, you know, for me to do like that 4x butt slap that I did, I mean, I won't even bother. Like I have no use to do a 5 or 6. Like I just, you know, I have no use for it.
Yeah, definitely. So, and I think when people plan it into transfers, like it's such an anomaly that it will happen that if you're planning it into a transfer, it just gives a red flag for me already. It's like, how consistently do you actually expect to hit this? Like what, 1 in 5? Oh, okay, well that's obviously bullshit. Like that's my line of thinking on the matter. And I don't think I'm naive around that. But like, you know, whatever, dude. The original question was what's changed about Fug Pro, right? It's just to have the devs talk to the community. You know, stop having them listen to people that don't really know what they're talking about and are complaining about things that are, in the grand scheme of things, irrelevant, and have them speak to the long-term players that really know the game, that have been through it through the thick and thin. Listen to what they say and what advice they have to give. And don't make brash decisions without consulting the wider community first. And I'm not saying like establish some fucking elite group that makes all the decisions, because that's just another reincarnation of the same problem. You know, set up a poll, let people talk about it and debate about it before you make changes to the game. Have some sort of open forum.
they all have their pros and cons. If you set up a poll that, you have a bunch of new players that really don't know any better, vote that this thing's going to pass, well, then that's going to pass. But,
isn't that exactly what happened with Fug 2, though? Do you remember, like, on the Neversoft forum, some dude was like, "Oh, I want to play as Bam Jara in a wheelchair, and I want to throw apples out of my fucking asshole." And then we got Fug 2.
But that's what could easily happen again with a poll. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I don't know. I think this late in the community, we would have established, like, some sort of... I wouldn't want to say hierarchy, because that's a very strong word, but some sort of, like, concept of whose opinion could be more verified or accountable than others.
Sure.
And again, I don't want that to equate to some sort of establishment of an elitist group who make all the decisions, but some guys played for 2 days, for example, goes against someone like Rav. Most people are going to listen to Rav, and that's the way that it should be.
But then it wouldn't be a poll, would it? Yeah, it'd be hard to do. Yeah, I don't know.
But open discussion.
Sure.
Open discussion, because polls are not necessarily definitive either. The majority wins polls, and the majority is not necessarily always right.
Yeah, that is true.
So if people can criticize it and make good points against it, it could be, indemnified.
Well, that's that. I wanted to get...
God, that was a long one,
I know
wasn't
it was, yeah.
Jesus, don't have to bang on like that, man. Cut me off.
Dude, we knew that was going to happen. You can keep going on about some things, and that's not a bad thing. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. But I did want to talk more about you and just more about your past leading up to now, if that's cool.
What, my life in general?
No, just on Tony Hawk. Yeah. I was going to ask you, and these are kind of taken from Base's previous podcast. I think I sent you these, but... can you name some videos or projects that you were part of before the FlowVid series? And the TO series, I guess, would be... Because there's a couple TO videos. But...
Do you have the capacity to, like, put a video up on the channel right now?
Like, right now? No, I don't. I would fuck it up so bad, dude. I don't even want to try. Right. Yeah, but you could just say, I guess, if you know them.
Well, one of the first ones I did, I made a team called SK, which was like Sick Coffers way back in the day with my brother.
Yeah. I remember.
Do you remember it?
Yeah.
It was me, my brother, this guy called Little Homie, and some dude that lived around the corner from us that didn't even have like his PS2 online, but he just liked to hang out with us and play. And we made a mixtape. It was like really bad, It was just most of it was just me proving like college and Alcatraz, and by proving I mean like just skating around the style lines of the level, like all around the outside walls in college and down the ramps in Alcatraz. They didn't really have any transfers in it whatsoever. But that's still on YouTube, and it's been like rendered right down to fucking 240p, terrible ass quality. But it's still there, and that's got to be like maybe 2005, like it maybe even 2004, like really old video. And that isn't even like the year that we released it, because we didn't have YouTube accounts till maybe like a year and a half later. So it's even older than that. It's really bad. It's probably like the first video that I ever made, but it's there on YouTube if you want to check it out. You could put Little Thug SK team video.
Whatever happened to Little Thug? I remember him a little bit.
Little Thug was my brother, actually.
Oh, that was your brother. Okay.
That was him. Yeah.
Did
the
you
other
say
guy
that?
was Little Homie. Yeah. He was Little Thug. The other guy was Little Homie.
Okay.
Obviously he plays as Bezin these days, and he's a very accomplished player himself.
Yeah, he's fucking good as hell.
Yeah, he's good. We don't really see each other in real life much these days. We had a bit of a falling out, but no disrespect inferred.
We've had our falling outs before.
He's always been a good player, so and we had a lot of history on the game together too. We used to play a lot of King of the Hill on LAN, and that was fantastic, man. No lag whatsoever.
Dude, I'm looking forward to that this weekend.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah,
it's the only time you can play King of the Hill and like actually not at some point in the game just be like, fuck this game, and want to quit. When you go straight through the guy with the crown. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I guess my first video that I made that really had some impact was I can't even remember what it's called now. It's a Manhattan only video, and I made it after like seeing Alex Manhattan video, and kind of tried to replicate and one up his style, and that's sort of the one that cemented me. But that was after TO and after all the team videos. There wasn't much before that, really, dude. To be honest, there really wasn't much before that.
Wow. Yeah. So not many single solo projects out there.
No.
Okay.
No, TO video was really the first big one. I did like Buck West mixtape 1 and 2.
Yeah, I
both of
saw
which
those.
got me in TO, got me the invite. But I mean, they're still notable today. Some pretty cool stuff in them, like landing on the London Head. That was pretty cool. What else? I think there's a couple of cool like double bonks in there and stuff. But other than that, man, it's not really that great.
Fair.
But they're old, and they're clocked for their real time, I think, as well. So whenever I put them on YouTube is when they actually came out.
Yeah. Hey, I don't generally do this on a live podcast, but I got to piss like a mofo, and I want to pour me my second drink here. So give me a minute.
Okay, well, I'll use this for a toilet break too. I'll be right back.
All right.
Well, I'm back. I guess Mr. still AFK. What's up, dudes in the chat? Just having a look at this now. I have to read all of this later. I'll do a Q&A at the end if you want, guys. What do you think about that, Mister? Do you want to do a Q&A at the end?
Oh, we always do Q&A at the end, for sure.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, nice.
Yeah. And I generally don't even read the Twitch chat till the end, so...
Oh, right. Yeah, I just had a peek at it, and it's all like, hey, Buck's an idiot. This guy's fucking...
Well,
no, it's not
you
that
know,
bad.
it's gonna
No
happen.
disrespect, guys.
I got a lot of shit for having you on, and I was like, this is the Alex Jones of Tony Hawk. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's all love, guys. Like, some of you probably murdered people, and you probably, like, you know, beat people up and stuff, so... You guys, not so much, but everyone else, yeah, don't do that shit, but, yeah, love for everyone else.
Is there a lot of comments on it?
Yeah, I haven't really looked at them.
Yeah, we'll get to it. Yeah, we'll definitely do a Q&A. Fuck, where were we? We're talking about your videos. What about... I think you've posted all your recent videos in NFA. Well, you couldn't post the last one because you're kicked out of NFA.
Yeah, I deliberately got myself kicked out. I got really fed up of being falsely accused of being a racist by Alex, so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to fucking...
I saw some of that. Yeah, you just went off on the deep end on that. That was kind of funny.
Yeah, I thought it... Do you know what, man? I really just got enough of it. Constantly, every time I disagreed with him about anything, or we had some sort of a contention between us, it was, you're just a racist and you're a horrible, terrible person, when I'm really not. So I just thought, you know what, I really just don't give a fuck. Just have what you want. So I just gave him it.
Fair.
And it enabled me to, like, not be part of the community or care about it anymore and just carry on in my career, which is, as you know, is what I've been doing, and it's been going really well.
It's been going great. Judging by what you're telling me, it's been going awesome. Actually, you know, I'll say after not I haven't been playing as much lately either, and focusing less on. I mean, I've already gathered 2 more pretty good accounts on my end for my business, and it's like, yeah, it's. But I still love the game to death. I still like doing this, and I still like playing on occasion. And I don't foresee.
Oh, that's it, man. I'm always gonna love the game. I'm gonna be on my deathbed like with Alzheimer's, and people are gonna be like, "What do you want for your last meal?" And I'll be like, "Tony Hawk, give me Tony Hawk." you know what I mean, man. I'm always gonna love the game. I'm always gonna want to play it. But it's just, I don't know. I made some mistakes with the community. There's a lot of contention there, a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of me getting annoyed, probably overly annoyed compared to what I had to be over certain issues. And it just created sort of a feedback loop that became very negative. And I just didn't want to be part of it anymore. So I just thought, fuck this shit, man. And it was all good when we were like in SMG and we were together. And we were just playing as a squad and there was no problems there. But the whole reason I came back is Alec was like, fuck those guys, man. Just come play with us and you don't have to worry about them. And then the very moment I said something that he doesn't like, he's like, oh, you're a racist and you're the worst person ever. You're basically Hitler. And I just thought, dude, I don't need this in my life, man. Fuck this, So I just got rid of all of it. And I'm much for the better. No disrespect to everybody. Again, those of you that aren't murderers or beat the shit out of people, it's all love. But if you wanted the form, don't do that. It's very bad.
I would assume most people don't do that.
Just looking around, but no, it's no problem, man. It's no beef. It's no animosity. It's just a life decision I had to make.
Yeah. I wanted to go more on you and what clans you've been in. I mean, can you name like all the clans you've been in, like a timeline of the clans?
Oh, I could try.
Too, yeah.
I could try. My first clan, and there's a bit of a funny story around this, and I wanted to say at some point, but I didn't know how it would segue in. But my first clan was a clan called Assassin. And this is on Tony Hawk 4. And these were like some. Yeah, these are old school guys that were like my first online friends, so to speak. And when the clan died and the game went offline, I never really saw them. I never had them on any platform or anything. And about 8 months ago, man, I was playing Dota in an American server, and there's this guy on my team called Soul Assassin.
I was just about to fucking say Soul Assassin.
Yeah,
that's
man.
Awesome. Yeah.
It got to literally like 40 minutes into this Dota match, and I was looking at his name, and I was like, where the fuck do I know that name from? And I said to him, hey, man, did you used to play Tony Hawk 4 online on the PS2? He was like, yeah, I did. And I was like, fuck, dude, I'm Buck. I haven't seen you in like fucking 10 years. And he had exactly the same name, dude. His name is like this, right?
You know what the fucking odds of that are, though?
I know, the odds of it are insane.
Crazy.
And his name is like this. His name was like this back in the day, and it hadn't changed.
Yeah.
Exactly the same way. And I bumped into him in a Dota match, and now he's on my friends list, and we fucking talk all the time.
Does he remember me? Because I used to play with him.
I can ask him. I can ask him. Yeah. So Assassin was my first clan, and bumping into that guy randomly on Dota was just like, it blew my mind for the rest of the day. I was like, we lost that game as soon as I realized who he was.
I told you, did I tell you? Because we have a duplex and we rent it out to multiple different renters. And this gal that my wife worked with at the hospital was an old friend of Drist's.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying that.
Isn't that fucking
that has to
nuts?
be like a year ago.
Yeah, it's been definitely over a year. But I was just like, I saw like her friends list on Steam, and I was like, wait a second, no fucking way, And I asked her, I was like, dude, you know what the odds of that shit are?
Small world, man.
Yeah.
Small world. I know it's it's crazy. Yeah, I still speak to him sometimes. I told him about Fug Pro. And he said, oh, I always wish Tony Hawk was a bit more like The Sims. And then I stopped talking to him about Tony Hawk after that. So I thought like, I'm never going to convert you to like everything that you've missed since playing back in Tony Hawk 4. Lots of discardable clans between then and TO, to be honest. TO was my first serious clan.
Yeah. Who was the leader of that?
Uni. He used to be the editor of the Simply Style videos.
Were they edited really good?
They were okay. They were sort of like cinematic experiences. They kind of had the whole theme of the SMG video, actually, with people being in a theatre and having curtains closing and end credits and that sort of stuff.
Damn.
And it wasn't just TO players that got in Simply Style. It was anybody that wanted to do it. It was sort of like a community project. And
there's a few of them, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's like 4 or 5. I definitely remember 4. May have been 5. Then after then, I guess, man, it was just whatever clan I wanted to join. Like I went through a period of just trying out for clans, like serious clans, you know, and saying, hey, can I join? And then they'd be like, yeah, of course, you're Buck, and then I'd join. And then I'd leave like the next day. I just wanted them to invite me just to see if I could. You know, I went through a period of being a bit of a dick like that, like in my late teens.
Yeah. Did you ever get invited to TLT?
No.
Okay.
No. I did very late in Thug 1 by Alec and Steve when they were both in it. And I basically told them both to fuck off, though. Like, no disrespect to them now, doesn't matter. But, yeah, they should have invited me years and years and years before. And it was only when I joined Flow. No, actually, let me get this story straight, man. It was only when Iron left TLT to come back to Flow that they invited me. And I told them, like, no, shove it. You should have done it a long time ago. And you're only doing it now because Iron left. And that was like early Fug Pro time. Yeah. Yeah, pretty weird that time, man. Iron actually said to me, quote, direct quote, Buck, thank you for reminding me why Tony Hawk is fun. And he left TLT and he rejoined Flow. And then the next day they were like, oh shit, because we've lost Aaron, we better invite Buck now. You know, it was just really obvious what they were thinking. Yeah, it was just really obvious, and I was like, nah, screw you guys. So I did get invited, but never joined. Of course, always wanted to be THO, but never got it. The big clan that I haven't mentioned yet is IOU, man. IOU, like, defined so much in that era, and so much of today, and I can't take all of the credit for it, because a lot of it was based around Diz's philosophy of how Tony Hawk should be played, and around Sicko's ability to actually turn that into gameplay, and around Alec too, and playing with Alec. Because there was a time, man, towards the real end of Fug 1, where it was just myself, Alec, Dragon, and Steve, and we were the only players playing online, and we were the only ones there, and we were there like every day. And it was just the four of us, and we would do OBs, and it's probably like a 6 to 8 month period when nobody else was playing the game. The game was like dead. If we'd stopped playing, that would have been it for the Tony Hawk series. And then Fug Pro came out, and obviously it's got this massive lease of life, and so many players have come back, and it amalgamated the PC and the PS2 community. But back then, it was really just us. Like we watched everybody fizzle out.
Wasn't Ghost part of that too?
No,
Or was Ghost,
Ghost
I think
wasn't
Ghost is probably even later than that.
He's really late. He's only played Fug Pro. He wasn't there. You'd see like Nit would come on sometimes, like maybe once a month or so. You'd see Nit come on, which is why I said Nit's really underrated earlier, because he has been there like consistently throughout. But there's not many others that I can name that have been there for the whole thing.
But just to confirm, Ghost didn't play Thug Pro. He just played Thug offline for like a long time. Then he started playing Thug
maybe
Pro.
he did. Like I know he knew Alec in real life, and Alec probably said to him, "You have to play this game. It's great." And if they're friends, you know, Alec would have been like coaching him offline and teaching him how to play. I can totally imagine that happening.
Yeah.
But I can't confirm that, because if he wasn't online, I never saw him. But yeah, towards the real end of the game, dude, this is like, how old was I? I must have been 20. So 20 to 21, so about 8 years ago. So like 2010, 2011, it was just me, Alec, and Dragon. And we used to like go on Skype every day and play Tony Hawk, and we were the only ones. Like, we were the only players, yeah.
Yeah, I for sure wasn't playing at that time.
And we were wearing the IOU tag, and it was just us. And we took the game to like a whole other level, dude. We took it from what it was, with like butt slap being discovered and wall pushes being like, you know, more common, into like the fully amalgamated improv style that you see today that puts all the techniques together. And we released a whole bunch of videos that you can go back through both of our YouTube timelines and you'll see them over all the years, and some of them have like 100 views, because just nobody was playing back then, and it's some of the best gameplay that you'll see to this day, because we were there in our prime as, you know, young adults, I suppose.
So this was
Like
this
in
was
terms
on
of peak
Thug.
physicality on Thug, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
Just playing all day, every day. Like it's all we were doing. We were all unemployed and just sat around on Skype
I
playing Tony
think
Hawk, and we were just fucking
PC
insane.
still had some pretty active stuff going on. I
It,
wonder,
it, it may it may well have done.
yeah,
I
I
can't
wonder
comment.
if you played on PC, how that would have went. That would have been pretty cool. You go on PC and play back when it was still a little active.
Well, I think looking at the forums around that time, there were PC players, and they were amalgamated in the forums.
Hmm.
But the video content that was coming out, the PS2 community was like way ahead of the
Yeah,
PC community back then, like way ahead.
for sure.
And then Fug Pro came out, and it all became like blended together. But yeah, during that time, like honest to God, it was when Tony Hawk for the PS2. I have to say with the PS2 because I don't know for PC, but for the PS2 at least it was on its last legs. It was just like 3 of us playing, 4 of us playing.
Well, now
And
it's nothing, right? I don't think anyone plays it.
No, nobody plays PS2 at all anymore. They've all come over to Fug Pro, of course, and it's got a booming community, and that's great. And I can imagine this community is going to be here for years and years to come. I can't see it going anywhere.
I don't know. I wouldn't. You
Time
wouldn't
soon.
think, but the servers definitely don't seem as popular lately. Like I've been signing on the past few weeks, and I'm like, shit. It doesn't. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't seem as popular lately.
It might be so, but I have a bit of an interesting theory around what happens, like with Tony Hawk generally, is people always want to be the best on the game. They always want to make the best video. You know, they always want to be in the best team. And actually, when you do that, when you make a video that nobody can ever beat, you defeat the reason for other people to play, and it's very like paradoxically destructive, you know, because you could argue that if you make great content, it inspires people to continue playing the game. But if you make content that's completely unbeatable, people are just going to quit and give up.
But what would be an example of that recently? There was nothing really that's come
No,
up.
it would be
You know?
the SMG videos, in my opinion.
No.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah,
are just
for
they're
sure, yeah.
they're just like we were just hanging out making these videos and we edited them good. But like the content, I mean, dude, there's other people out there that have crazy good content.
Well, maybe they're the ones that are then going to set the bar thereafter. You know, that you guys are going to think, oh, fuck, how do we beat... You know, I know you think Red Bull's a really great player. I don't disagree.
Yeah.
But let's say Red Bull makes a clan and makes some fantastic content with some good players, and you guys think, oh, fuck, well, we're never beating that. And then how long until maybe you just stop playing altogether? You know, and it's kind of like the problem I think the community's always had, is it's always been a bit selfish and a bit divisive. And it's always been like, I want to be the one that is the fucking best. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm the embodiment of having done that for a long time when I was on top of that, and when arguably I was one of, if not the best. And I don't want to make that claim now because it's so stupid. But when you have that happening in a community, you have a monopoly of skill and a monopoly of power. It just exiles all the other players, and that's dangerous. It's dangerous for the game, and that's the only way I can see it dying, man. Is that because this is effectively what happened in Fug 1, is that all the good players got into IOU, and then if you're not in IOU, why play? And we had people that played like for months and months and months trying to get into IOU. And we gave them the invite, and then we never saw them again because they accomplished their goal. You know, they got what they wanted. They had no reason to keep playing. And I think that's the only way I can see this game dying, is if the competitive... Because people don't want to admit it, man, but this game is so competitive. Under the surface, it's so competitive, and people have put so many hours into it. And if that competitiveness becomes so condensed in one area, it will ruin the community and laterally ruin the game. And that's the only way I see it dying.
Hmm. Yeah, but there should be more new players playing. Like, you know, like there's people that have channels that have like hundreds of thousands of subscribers that, you know, made Thug Pro videos. Like, they should be coming on here. That's what I'm saying. Like, it just seems like, just in general, the noob community too, included, just seems less. I don't know what it is. I could be wrong too.
No, I kind of agree with you, and it's a matter of a reward, isn't it? Is what actually do you get if you do become the best player in the world at this game? You know, the answer is nothing. And I've been speaking to Vega about this recently. As I've been saying, like, don't waste your time with it, man. Go focus on getting a career early and get a head start in the corporate world. Because even if you're just playing this as a hobby, you're putting thousands of hours into it.
I
And
definitely
even if
think
you
it should
become
come.
the best, it's not going to ever do anything for you, really. It's just going to be your own personal triumph. And
Yeah.
nobody in the wider world is going to care about it. And it's not going to be an accolade that you can use in any constructive way.
It definitely should come after everything else. But like, you can still work it in. Like, dude, I'm the busiest person that I know in real life, and I still work it in. Honestly, I'm not fucking kidding you. I'm the busiest person I know in real life.
I believe it. I
still
know you
work
well
it in.
enough to know that you're telling the truth about that as well, man.
But yeah, it definitely should come after everything.
The game is incredible. You know, this is it. You have to give sort of a disclaimer in making a statement like that. The game is incredible, and I love playing it. And if that wasn't the case, I wouldn't have been playing it all this time. But it can't be anything more than a pastime. And the fact that like people now are making fucking, you know, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars playing video games. Video game culture is very much a viable career path, but this game is not a viable career path. And like I said to you earlier, man, I always wanted to be a pro gamer. Always wanted to be a pro gamer growing up. And I picked the wrong games, dude. You know, I got really, really good at this.
We picked
I got
game.
really,
Dude,
really good at SOCOM.
you know
and
what we
it never
should've
made
done?
anything. It never meant anything.
You know what we should have done? When we were playing COD 4, we should have took that shit and made it serious. Dude, remember when we played that shit?
Yeah, how long ago was that, right? Because that game now is competitive and makes
It's
serious money.
super competitive. I mean, you can make crazy bank, and we were playing that right when it started booming, and we were fucking raping people on that.
Oh, yeah, we
It
were.
was crazy.
Top of every single game. Yeah,
Yeah, it was
absolutely.
unreal.
I remember it, man. Yeah.
Damn it! Can we go back in time?
I know, right? That's it. That's why
Jesus.
when people ask me now about Dota, I sort of say offhandedly and like half jokingly, if I could go back and like not spend any of my time playing Tony Hawk and just play Dota instead, I would. But it's not true, man, because I love Tony Hawk. But if I'd put even half the time I put into Tony Hawk into Dota, I'd probably be a multi-millionaire right now. You know, just pick the wrong game. Just pick the wrong game. So if you're looking at this with anything more than it being like a pure entertainment pastime, you're looking at it wrong. You know, and I made that mistake for a long time, and I'm not like shy about saying that.
I will say though, the game does have benefits. Like it brings out. How do I say? I wouldn't have known my work ethic if it wasn't for this game.
Oh, see, man, you're touching on something really interesting there, and I've thought about this a lot actually, and I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah,
is that there's a philosophical concept known as the journey of mastery. Have you heard of it before?
Fuck no, no, I've never heard of it.
In essence, it means like to become a master in any type of context, you have to go through the same steps, right? You start off as a beginner and a know-nothing. You identify somebody who's like more competent than you. You become their student. You dedicate the time that you have to in order to learn from them, and then you overtake the person who taught you. So the student becomes the master. This is a journey of mastery. And have you gone through that in any context in your life, then you have the makeup of knowing how to be completely fucking terrible at something and to take the steps that are required in order to become the best at it. So there's no doubt that from like a work point and from an ethical learning perspective, there's a lot of value in having gone through this journey. And like I'd never want to take it away.
Yeah.
And the fact is just like, what a beautiful game to pick to do it as well. Like, how fucking amazing is Tony Hawk as a game standalone? You know, all these idiots that are playing, like, COD 4 on the console or GTA or whatever, they'll never know the level of skill that goes into this, and they'll never come close. So you can create somewhat a justification for your journey of mastery being one that's of more fruition and more demand than others in the same context of gaming. You know what I mean? And so therefore it has more value.
For sure. Yeah.
So I never take away from that. I want to take that away from anybody, but you know.
So you agree? It kind of does just kind of bring it out.
Yeah, it does definitely. Yeah, it's the principle of the journey and the components that you have to go through in order to get the end result. You know, that's transient. You can apply that to anything in your life, and it will give you the same results if you go through the same steps and you have the same desire for outcome. Yeah. You know, Vega, I really care about Vega, like, as a young man, you know, and we're good friends. And I'm always saying to him, like, don't waste your time with this, man. Just get ahead up in the corporate world. In 10 years' time, you'll thank yourself for it.
I keep telling him to start a fucking business.
Yeah.
But I know it's a lot harder out there, but still, I mean, if you start a business at the age of whatever the fuck he is. Dude, if I would have started a business right out of high school, I don't even know. I don't know where I'd be. It's hard to even imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally, dude. You'd probably be far further ahead than what you are now. Not to say that you're behind in any way, but it's all about time investment, isn't it? And you learn lessons from mistakes. And you have to go through exposure to make mistakes and to learn lessons, and that takes time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. Fortunately, we're still young enough to learn from all that shit.
Oh, dude, I might be the youngest person ever, actually. When I was born, my doctor said this might be the youngest person I've ever seen.
Ha ha.
Sorry.
Slash bad
Can't
joke.
resist.
Insert shitty joke here.
How long have we been on here? My seriousness is slightly depleting. No disrespect.
How long you been on what?
How long have we been on here for on the podcast?
About an hour and a half, hour, 40 minutes, something like that.
Oh, right, cool. So
That's not bad.
still a bit of time.
Yeah, it goes by quick, but yeah, it's only been an hour and 40 minutes. I mean, I figured at least a couple hours, 2.5. I mean, that's to be expected.
Yeah, okay.
Especially with us. I mean, we go so far back. I don't think people realize just how far back we go.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
man.
Out of all the people that I play online with, I want to say you and Freddie and Popcorn, who I just recently got in contact with. I mean, I think that's as far back as it goes. I mean, it's like 15 years.
Yeah, at least, man. At least.
Like, we were playing
probably on my first ever PC, and I had that until I was 13 and a half, so sometime before that, so at least 15 years.
I mean, we were playing Call of Duty 4 back on the X-Fire days.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that shit. People don't even know what that is.
Yeah, no, we go way back, man. Yeah, I was always really grateful, actually, for how accommodating you were for me back in the day, because I was just a noob, and you were like a fucking superstar player to me back then, man. I know that sounds really like butt-licky, but it's true.
Kind of butt-licky.
Well, no shame.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, man.
The thing that made me decent back in the day is I just did my own thing. I think if people just do their own thing long enough, it's going to be pretty awesome no matter what.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Pick a component and refine it. Yeah. 100%, man. Like, this is sort of what I wanted to talk about too, which I didn't really get to come onto earlier, but it's around the whole roles in Tony Hawk. Is when I realized people were scripting and that, like, nobody was listening to me when I was saying that they were, I thought, okay, I need to find a new way to prove that I'm way quicker than all of these fucking players, you know? So I just started incorporating roles into my gameplay, like in crazy ass situations. And like everyone's doing that shit now, and this is a lot of the reason why I give such kudos to Q-Levy, is because he does it incredibly well. But it was effectively like my mechanism of fighting back against the way that the game was going. It's okay, like if you guys are going to try and cheat to make yourself look better, then I'm going to find a way that I'm going to still be better than you anyway. And that's where all the roles came in. And that was totally my own thing, you know, that I brought to the game.
By just doing more tricks and stuff and risk type things?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And just thought, like, try and copy this with your script, you know, good luck. And some players have and some players haven't. And the ones that have, I can look at and think, okay, you're genuinely a good player. And the ones that have stuck to their same old, like, 5-6 BSs compensating, you know, they don't really fly that well with me because I know they're cheating. No disrespect, fellas, but it's the truth.
This brings me to one of the reasons that people don't like you, right? Is that you'll openly say you're super duper good and that you do all these things that they can't. I mean, what do you say to that if you're openly just saying that?
I say, well, prove me wrong. You know, and those that do, I say, congratulations, well done. And those that don't and just attack my character, I say, oh, hey, well, fuck you. You know, because so many people have attacked my character over the years, and they actually don't know much about me, man. And this is why I had so much respect for Vegas, because he got to know me, and he saw that I wasn't what the community was painting me as. And that's why him and I get on so well, and why we always have done. And same for everybody else who's actually took the time to sit down and have a conversation with me, is they'll see there's rationale behind me saying these things, and yes, a lot of it is provocation, but if you don't provoke a conversation, you're never going to have one. You know what I mean? So it's deliberate for the most part.
Got it. So you know how you come across.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Okay.
I think it's fucking funny most of the time, man. I think it's super entertaining.
It is kind of entertaining, yeah. It definitely
and the
sparks
fact is,
things
mate,
up.
I am a good player as well, so no one's going to try and like tell me that I'm not a good player or that I'm just talking out of my ass. You know? And the people that are cheating, like, they're the real funny component of this, because they're the ones that are really bugged by what I'm saying, that they're going to an extent to actually try and deceive, like, me, the whole community, and themselves into the fact that they're a better player when they're just not. And it's just funny, but, you know, somehow I'm the sad and the lame one for calling it out. Like, I just think it's hypocrisy at its finest, and it's just fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
if you're not going to have fun with it, then what are you going to do? You know?
I don't think I've ever met a single person that said that you're a bad player. You know,
no, sure.
It's pretty crazy, yeah.
Yeah, not many people will, but why would they? Because it's just blatantly not true, you know. But to go as far as saying, like, I'm the best player ever, man, obviously that's provocation. But there was probably a time when that was true. It's not true today, but there was probably a time when it was true. Around the time when I was, like, playing SOCOM and Tony Hawk all day, every day, and I didn't have a job, and I was, like, literally just a fucking bum. Like, yeah, I was probably one of the best console gamers in the world, if not the best. But again, nothing came of it, man.
What year? Like, how long ago was that?
My name's not in any fucking record book. Like, you know, it doesn't matter.
What years was that? I'm just curious. Was that like in your late teens, early 20s?
Yeah, probably around 1920. Yeah.
1920.
Yeah. Like, I was playing SOCOM and just one-shotting people.
Didn't SOCOM become a kind of a professional game?
No, it did in America, but never in Europe.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it did here, but yeah, that's too bad.
Like, if I picked up Halo instead, man, I would have been playing competitive Halo, but it's whatever. Like, I said to Vega the other day, like, nobody will believe me about any of this shit, but if, like, by some miracle, God could come down and be like, I am the Lord, and I'm here to fact-check these statements, you know, they would all come through as true. Around that time, dude, I was just, like, fucking way ahead of the curve. Way ahead of all the Xbox players, and probably best Tony Hawk player at the time through Fug 1, best SOCOM player. And it just never meant anything, dude. This is the real takeaway from it. For everyone that's listening that wants to say, like, I'm some sort of fucking bragging asshole and I'm lying or whatever. I'm not lying, but it was a massive waste of time, a massive waste of endeavorment. It never meant anything. It never
I wouldn't say it's a massive waste of time, though.
Fruition.
You mean you got confidence out of it? There's no doubting
sure,
you think you're
but
confident.
If you spent that time, like, doing something else, man, if you spent that time becoming the best at something else that actually has worthwhile value in the world, it would be much better for your life, just in the long run, and for your family and for your future. But I can't say to my kids, you know, sorry guys, we don't have any bread to eat today, but you should see this great headshot that I landed in 2012. You know,
yeah, but dude, I wouldn't have any regrets being super competitive. You know, that's going to serve you good. I mean, you're 28 now? Fuck, man. I mean, you still have so much time to implement all that stuff and the competitiveness.
I appreciate your positive contextualization of that, man. And in a way, it is true.
No, dude, it certainly is true.
It is true, and it does bleed into my professional life now. And I just wish I'd done it sooner.
Yeah, but dude, 28 is not old. I'm fucking 30. How do you think I feel? I'm 2 years older than you.
Yeah, but you say that, man, but I look at 28 and I think I'm just like in between 25 and 30 and closer to 30. I might as well be 30 now, the way you think about that.
When you hit 30, I think you're going to be, number one, you're going to be like, holy shit. At first, you're going to be like, fuck, I turned 30, I'm not this and that. But then you're just going to be super grateful just to be alive. I think that's what's going to happen. Then you're gonna combine that gratefulness with the competitiveness and all the shit that you've learned throughout the years, and you're gonna fucking kill it, dude. I really think that's gonna be the case.
I really appreciate that. That's really nice of you to say that.
Yeah.
And dude, I mean, I'm going places. You know, I had my my review for joining my new job just last week, And I was telling you I want to go for that data analyst role. It's like fucking 70K a year. My manager said to me, I think you should slow down. You've already skipped about 5 steps in the corporate ladder being in the job that you're in. And I sort of thought, she's right, I came in as a nobody and just fucking like went into one of the most desirable departments in the whole business in one of the most desirable progressive-based roles. And I count my blessings for that every day, man. But at the same time, I recognize that it's a result of my character, my approach, and my general demeanor, and positivity towards things, and a can-do attitude. The idea that, okay, like, if you think I can't do it, I'm going to show you that I can. And I've had that for my whole life. So I think, I appreciate what you said, man. But you are right. And that's the approach that you have to have. It's the only way to live, really. We're going way off topic here.
We've gone way down the rabbit hole. There's a couple more things I did want to clear. I mean, it's already about an hour, and it's going on 2 hours soon. But what's some memorable moments you've had just throughout the years on Tony Hawk? Is there anything that pops into mind that you're like, oh shit, that just happened? That's like you still think about, or that can pop into mind?
Memorable moments.
Or big achievements. It could be a clan. It could be a video that you were proud of. It could be a transfer. I mean, you have that triple wall ride bounce to bounce. I mean, almost everyone in the community knows about that.
Yeah, that's a great transfer, and I said earlier, I killed a whole summer trying to hit the transfers for TO video. That was the main one that bled my time away. Landing transfers like that does take a lot of fucking time and a lot of commitment. I don't know, man. So much has happened in the community, and I think people actually respect and know and love each other a lot more than what they're willing to admit. I don't want to sound all like flowery and gay in saying that, but it is the case, like when I heard of like the deaths in the community that have happened over the years, it hangs over my head the next day, and in the next coming days, in the next coming weeks, and it really does move me to think like, shit, I knew that person. We had conversations, and that person's not around anymore, and I get sad to think like, if I had some sort of involvement in that dynamic and in their life, could I have potentially changed it? It sounds somewhat selfish saying that, as in like I could have wow, that was a sick war plan. Yeah, I could have somehow helped them, or I could have somehow made things different, and I'm not claiming that at all. But when you hear of like losses in the community, that moves me. That really does move me at a deep level, and it makes me really sad, because to me, like, those people are the same as me. They grew up in the same era, they grew up with the same stimulation, the same game, the same type of context, and it you don't want that for anybody. But never mind somebody who you perceive to be close to you, even through a conduit as this, which some people may not think necessarily makes you close to them, but for me it does. So that sort of stuff really moves me, and that would always be memorable. I know that's not really what you were looking for. You're looking for positive,
but it absolutely does have that connection aspect to it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be chilling with you when I go to London. People
in the community are a lot closer than what they want to admit, and I think we should really try and embrace that more. Personally, that's a lot of the reason why I left, man, is because people are always so quick to say that I'm this or that and blah blah blah, and really they don't know me, and they're just thinking that they're like being part of the meme culture and they're just being funny and they're making jokes. But like that shit was fun 10 years ago. It's not fun now. What it is to really be an accountable and intelligent person today is to care for other people and to tell the truth all the time, to the best of your ability, and to not be shy about that.
I think,
and to not make some cheap joke.
The thing that you've taken it differently because you've aged and your perspective's better as you age.
Oh right? Yeah, if you asked me 10 years ago, I would have said, "Hey, you remember that time when I trolled this dickhead and he looked like a fucking ass?" You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it does change as you get older. Your opinions grow more refined, as you say rightfully. And I don't know, man. The stuff I remember in the Tony Hawk community really is stuff that changed my life. So it's music, definitely music. It's the people that I know that are no longer with us. Like, that makes me really sad. And it's the friends that I still have, that I've had for many, many years, that are still here. Yourself being one of them.
Yeah,
That's the sort of stuff, man, that is memorable for me and that matters to me.
Do you have? We're gonna segue from something a little more intense to something that's probably not near as intense. But do you have like favorite transfers from videos that you've done, or videos that other people have done? Do you have like an all-time favorite transfers that's not yours?
Oh yeah, it has to be Vega's clip on the train.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's mind blowing. Yeah, Vega's clip on the train. Not mine, right?
Yeah. How about a favorite transfer of yours? Is it the triple water bounce?
Yeah, I really like that one, but it's so old now. What I really like is the one in Hawaii, the one times wall ride from the sketch up to the roof.
Sure.
I like that because that was like 2017 or something that I found that, and you could have done that on the vanilla engine in the game. Yeah. So it was like a real old school transfer that had been left undiscovered throughout the whole game. You didn't need any techniques, any glitches, or anything like that. But no, definitely my favorite transfer has got to be Vega's BHRA off the train in Tokyo. So that's such a good transfer.
Yeah, it's badass. He's annoyed because that's like the only thing he's known for, but it is pretty fucking cool. So it's
it's insanely good, and he should be really, really proud of having been the person that finds that. Because sometimes that's all you need, man. Is you just need one thing that people will forever cement your name in their minds for, and that's enough to sort of carry your reputation. And there was so much good shit in that video that I did, and everyone just said, "Oh my god, Vega's train transfer." So if I should be annoyed, it should be me, not him.
Right.
I'm just kidding, bro. But no, yeah, that's definitely my favorite. Yeah, hell of a good transfer.
Do you have a favorite type of transfer? Do you like wall ride bounces? Do you like just simple A to B? Do you like high bonks? Do you like OBs? I mean, what's your favorite type of transfers?
I don't like stuff that has overly complicated technique usage. Like if you're doing BHRA to a neuroplant, to another neuroplant, to a spaghetti warp or whatever, like my brain just switches off. I don't like that stuff. I know it's hard to do, but it's just not for me. I really like stuff that's old school, man. I do like stuff that's old school. If you can find like a boneless, like, do you remember this one that you had? I'll see if I can go to the level. This one that you had in London. There's still to this day. I don't even know if it's possible on this engine actually, but still to this day is a hard transfer for people to land on Tony Hawk 4. Is just going up this QP.
Oh, boneless to the roof.
Yeah, that's it. And then
God. I don't even want to think about it. I mean, it takes like an hour to land it.
Yeah, longer than that. Yeah,
it takes a long time. Yeah, you have to get it just right for sure. So you're more of a simple A to B type of guy.
Yeah, definitely. Sure. I think like the era of me being able to do overly complicated shit to impress an audience has probably come to an end because the game's moved in a way that I haven't followed really these days. Like the whole like spaghetti warp, neuroplant to neuroplant, blah blah blah. I don't care for any of that stuff, and I haven't followed any of it.
I do.
It just doesn't impress me. So like the old school stuff, man, is definitely always going to get a green light with me.
There's still like that appreciation though, right? Because like I did the no drifts, no techniques, basically no manual in college.
Yes, yeah.
And a lot of people like it. So.
Yeah, definitely, because you can't like make some sort of technique to just carry you through the transfer or through the run. You have to actually have raw input and raw gameplay capability, and that's why I sort of value those things so much, man. Like doing a 3 times wide bounce on Tony Hawk 4 is very different to doing a 3 times wide bounce on this game because you can get off your board. Like you could argue on doing it on Tony Hawk 4 is raw input because if you don't line up perfectly from one to the other, you can't compensate with a drift. So all the stuff people do like today, where you can just get off your board and compensate for the mistake, and it's not raw input, and there's so much in between. That sort of stuff, it doesn't really impress me. Like I'll see some really good stuff, and you can't deny that it's great. And there are exceptions, is what I'm trying to say there. But I prefer things at base level, man. I really do. But the game's so old now, it's really difficult to actually do things that just line up immaculately from one to the other to the other.
It's fucking hard.
Because everybody's done all of it already. Everyone knows the levels inside out. You're not going to find anything new.
Yeah.
Anything new that you don't have to have like such a massive player input to change the natural direction. You know, these sort of like predefined paths of A to B to C, they've already been found at this point. So there's no criticism for that, but it just doesn't impress me as much as finding something completely original that's been there all along that nobody's ever seen before. You know, those things really impress me. Yeah.
For sure. Look, man, it's been about 2 hours. Q&A can take about 15 to 20 minutes generally, so I do kind of want to open it up to that.
Yeah, let's go.
If we're cool with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We lost a few. I don't know. I didn't pull up the chat, but I saw the viewers. I got like 18.
Thanks again for having me on, man. Just so
for sure,
man. I really appreciate it, and it's been a good time.
Yeah,
and thanks for just letting me ramble, dude. You don't pull me back too much, so yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, I'm hoping that there'll be. I'm gonna pull up the chat right now, and I'm hoping people will ask questions. Generally, it is like 15, 20 minutes, but sometimes it can vary. But do we have questions? Questions? Let me type it up. Fuck. I'm sure there's going to be all sorts of shit. I'm hoping there is.
Alright, do I have the right to disregard anyone who's just being a douchebag?
You can answer whoever the fuck you want to answer.
Alright. So what's the IO philosophy of gameplay? Yeah, sure. Okay. So the IOU philosophy was basically if you think more than 1 second ahead of what you're doing, then you're a bad player. So if you ever watched Diz play, and I'll show because I'm on screen, Diz was literally like, he'd grind something and then he'd do this, and then he'd bail, and then he'd do this, and then he'd grind this, and then he'd DD, and then he'd do this, and he was just constantly like, he was all over the place, all the time, and he would never ever do anything that was in any way consistent. You know, he'd wall push this and he'd be like, oh, I need to get off my board here, or shit, wonder if I can butt slap this if I DD. You know, he was just constantly pressing like way more buttons than what you ever needed to press at any given time to have any sort of a flowy gameplay. And people took his idea of like, okay, so you definitely shouldn't grind this rail from here to the end because that's bad. And they turned it into something that was actually like marketable in the community. Because before it was just complete chaos watching Diz play, and he'd never go after zero for more than 1 second because he was just constantly bailing all the time. Everything he'd do, he'd get off his board and he'd try and like fucking do an FS 540 like from the ground and shit. He was just constantly trying to do the most insane thing that you could ever possibly imagine.
Does he still play Diz?
Diz? No, Diz doesn't still play, no.
Oh, that's too bad. I remember him, yeah.
So he really defined for IOU a new way of playing where you just don't think ahead at all. And you the idea was like, Alec embodied it really well in one sentence. He said, how do you play when you need to forget everything that you know, but also play like you remember everything that you know at the same time? And that's really it. Is every second you have to pretend like you know nothing about what's coming, but still retain all of your skill set and implement all of your techniques and all of your gameplay. And it's a very difficult way to play.
For sure.
Why did you use stats 13 and lie about it? Pretty much because I thought I'd get away with it, actually, because I was a kid. That's the honest answer. What was I, like, maybe 13 or something at the time? Yeah, I didn't think anyone would notice. People noticed.
Yeah, you were super young.
Shit happens.
Jesus. Do you want me to read them, or you're reading them?
No, that's cool. Yeah, somebody actually said at the time, and I'm not trying to like say I agree with the statement or whatever, but they said, you know, if you're playing at that higher speed and you can still make it like really continuous, and you still have great trick usage and you're still consistent all the way throughout, then in a way that's kind of an accolade in of itself. And I don't want to take that as some sort of a compliment, because the truth is that I thought I could just use stats 13 and not get caught, and I got caught. And so what?
That's fair.
Is there any videos that you think typifies that Diz owes now? No, this is what's really sad, man, is that Diz didn't actually make many videos at all. I think he had like one that was online and it got such terrible reviews and criticism from people because they just didn't really get it. But it's worth saying too, Diz doesn't play today, and Diz was like a massive fucking cokehead, and he was always drunk. And like what I think is really ironic about the whole situation is I think him asserting to people that this was the best way to play Tony Hawk and that he knew best was just some sort of like deluded like God complex that he had. But we all listened to him and we all implemented it, and it really changed the game. So maybe he never intended for that. And he actually said, the last thing he ever said to me, and I'm not making this up, it's going to sound like I'm doing it to self-aggrandize, but the last thing he ever said to me is, "Buck, you're too good. You're the leader of IOU now," and I quit. And he never played again. And it's because not just me, but also Alec had took his style on and just turned it into something completely different to what he originally came at it with. Don't you think it's double standard accusing people nowadays for cheating for silly reasons? Well, no, because people actually are cheating today and the reasons aren't at all silly. So, you know, and I'm also not cheating, and I haven't cheated ever since. And since then, I've gone a long way as a player. Thank you very much. So, no, I don't think it's at all double standards. I think if I was cheating now, and I was accusing other people of cheating, then sure, it would be double standards. But because I'm not, and because people are actively cheating and lying about it now, and, you know, because you're making defensive statements towards them, I think the real double standards is actually on your onus and not mine. Because if you're going to accuse me for something that happened 10 years ago, why don't you start accusing people that are cheating right here and now? Shield deflected. Alright, anyone else?
Just reading through the comments earlier, and someone had mentioned when we were talking about the creative trick packages that you were talking about, like during Christmas time.
Yeah.
I think Nevada had said it's 90% certain that it was Seawalk's creative trick package. I think it was. I want to say it was Seawalk.
It might be. I remember that Bikesaw posted it, so maybe that Seawalker created it and Bikesaw posted it. But I definitely remember that Bikesaw posted it.
Yeah.
You confused Greg with me when talking about... Yeah, I did. You're right, Previ. Yeah, sorry, it's Greg. Greg's the guy that is, like, very definitely, obviously cheating all the time. Yeah, it's not you. So, apologies. I retract that. I take that back.
Let's see.
It's Greg.
RIV team vid when? We have an RIV team video.
Check the 4 BHA opponents. Who gives a fuck it's for? Do you know, at first, actually, I wasn't very keen on the BHRA, but over time I became increasingly endearing of it, and I actually really like it today, to be honest. I think that it's not that difficult of a combo to execute, and the fact that you could BS from anywhere in the map just opens up so many new angles and so many new potentials that there's no reason that anybody should dislike it. It just frees the game up massively, and creates so many more opportunities. And, you know, the amount of times that I've jumped from a rail to the ground to a BHRA and then wall planted a pole that I never would have been able to do before, and it turns what would have been a nothing clip into, you know, a clip that's usable. It's great. If you look at the last video I posted on my channel as well, just like 2 days ago or something, there's a lot of me doing stuff that in of itself is not that cool, but then there's a BHRA to like a wall plant or to something that just puts a little cherry on top of the clip. So I think it's great. It opens up a lot of opportunities, and I'd be really upset if the devs take it away, but I can see it being the next thing that the devs take away, to be honest. I don't want to be prophetic here or make any wild guesstimates for the future, but as far as I see the devs thinking, anything that breaks their game they don't want, so I wouldn't be surprised if they take it out, and I really hope they don't, for the community's sake and for you guys' sake. Did you remember to wash your hands when you took a potty break earlier? No, I didn't wash my hands because, it's my dick and my dick's fine. Thanks, however. If I was holding somebody else's dick when they were pissing, I'm sure I would have done, but I know my dick's cool, so it's alright, mate. No problems there. Any others?
Yeah, let's see if we got some. What do you think of Bone Dolly? They implemented
I
Dolly.
turned it off the day it came out, mate. Turned it off the day it came out, yeah. I don't want to use it.
Just not a fan of the way it looks, or?
Yeah, I don't like the way it looks, but I don't like how it artificially extends your ollie either. I just don't like that.
Do you think that's okay now because we've come so far? And that we've done so many things that it's okay now to extend the ollie?
Yeah, it's debatable. I mean, if somebody makes like a really great video where they can show how boned ollies could be used selectively in order to like accelerate the content and make the content better, then sure, it would be like Mike TLT releasing his wall push video, as people would be like, oh fuck, this has been here the whole time and nobody's ever used it. Wow, and it looks great if it's used properly. But what I see at the moment is nobody's using it properly, and whenever they use it, I feel like it just gives me a headache. I wish they'd just turn it off. But somebody use it properly and prove me wrong, by all means. I think it has the ability and the capacity to be used very well, but at the moment nobody's doing it. So again, maybe that's the next direction for the game.
Right. So like if this person was doing a no manual and they couldn't get to it regularly, but they boned ollie because they could get to it, that would be an exception? Or what would be the thing, I guess? I'm curious.
Well, if somebody couldn't reach a transfer, but they did via a boned ollie.
Yeah, but they did no drift, but they boned ollie, and it was in a no manual.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it, man?
Yeah,
because in the back of my head, it's like, well, you only got there because of boned ollie. So, again, this really comes back to what I was saying earlier about the devs not having a universal baseline for the video. Not for the video, for the game. And this is why the game has so many problems. It's because I made this argument to Crowd, and I'll make this argument again. He said to me, why don't you just let people play the game they want to and play how they want? Well, I said to him, okay, let's go play a game of tennis, and I'll bring a gun, and I'll shoot you 5 times before we start. And hey, that's the way I want to play the game, man. So what's the problem? This is the way I want to play the game. So there's nothing wrong with that, right? Well, there is something wrong with it, because if everybody isn't playing exactly the same game by exactly the same rules, and everybody has exactly the same fair chance of winning, then they're not all playing the same game. And you don't have a game anymore. You have different people playing different games. So it comes down to that agreeable baseline that everybody has to approach the game from. Because if somebody's using scripts, or somebody has Bones Ollie, or somebody has Infinite BS, or somebody has, fucking Tony Hawk 4 Boost Plant script, then suddenly you have 6 people in the room that are playing a completely different game. And therefore you can't make any judgment of who's better, or who's good, or who's not good, because they're reading from completely different hymn books. But that's the real problem that the devs have to address, is they have to come up with a baseline that everybody can agree with, so everybody can play the same game.
There you go.
Otherwise, what's the point? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, perfect. Ganja the Cat, you want to do his?
Yeah, that's Ghost, right?
Yep.
What inspired you to play the way you played into your mix?
And I'll be back in just a minute, so if you want to carry this on, that'd be good.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, yep.
You played into your... It inspired you to play that way, or what drove you to decide to play the way you were playing in that video? Mate, honestly, it was the IOU style. It comes down to Diz again. It's like, if you look at the very first clip in that video, which I'm hoping you're going to remember, the drift in New Jersey to that little wall to a backflip, it's me in that moment in my head saying, like, I need to do the most ridiculous, insane thing that I can do in this very second and forget everything that I know. And if I don't do that, then I'm a bad player. Which is why I tried to do that in the situation, and it just so happened to land. When you're playing with that sort of style, that IOU style, that every single second you just take a snapshot of where you are in that moment, and you have to do the most insane thing that you can possibly do in that second, and forget everything else. 99% of the time when you try that, you're going to fail. and you're going to bail and you're not going to land what you want, but 1% of the time you're going to do something brilliant. And that's really what the IOU style was all about. And as the more we pressed that and the more we practiced that style, the more that 1% became 2% and then 3% and then 4%, and it just kept going up and up and up and up because we were just consistently trying to do the stupidest stuff from moment to moment, and we just got better and better at landing them. And so that's really where the style came from, man. It's just trying to push the boat out as far as possible. And if you don't land it, hey, you don't land it, but sometimes you do, and when you do, great, but it doesn't really matter because if you're not landing it consistently, then you're not as good as what the game can possibly facilitate people to be. And this is why I don't think Tony Hawk's dying anytime soon, man, is because, like, if you had a bot who could play Tony Hawk and execute everything perfectly from moment to moment, it's going to make all of us look like complete noobs because the cap of this game, the skill level on this game, has not even become remotely close to being realized. Not even remotely close. And no human player will ever be able to do it because just the sheer technical ability that you need to be able to do the single most insane thing that you can do from every second to every second is just unfathomable. And if you can do it for a few seconds in a row, then good job. That's the most that any player can ever really hope to do. But you're never going to do it consistently. It's just humanly impossible, and it's why it's such a great game, and why it's not going anywhere. What about a Korean? Yeah, well, they've got to compensate for something, I guess, haven't they? Oh God, here comes the racism jokes. How does it make you feel we can thug one BP to ceiling of map but can't THP4? Yeah, it fucking annoys me, mate, actually. It does piss me off. Especially because I was one of the, excuse me in saying this, one of the better Tony Hawk 4 boost plant players in the game. The fact that they've took that ability away from me does annoy me personally. Yeah, and I've been playing the game a lot less. Like, they really helped me to stop playing more by taking that away, because that was one of my favourite things about the game. And again, talking back to what I said earlier, it means that you can't prove people are scripting now, because you used to be able to say, okay, if you're so good at Butt Slap, do a Tony Hawk 4 boost plant, and then you would see their scripting. These days you can't do that. They took that ability away. And I think it's really ill-considered on the part of the devs. Thoughts on transfers and custom maps? It's getting so hard to. I don't like transfers and custom maps. I'll be honest. I feel like the way people treat custom maps of transfers are the same way that people treat new techniques in the game. Is that they're almost like first past the post wins. So the first person to get in a custom map is going to very quickly, if they're an experienced player, they're going to say, okay, here's a wide bounce. I could potentially lead that to this wide bounce. Oh, there's a pole here. I could definitely wall plant that pole. Within 1 or 2 runs, they're going to identify what all the good transfers are. And so whoever's the first person to make a transfer video in a custom map basically takes all the transfers. And it's the same when a new technique comes out, is people are like, okay, I can apply this new technique to here, to here, to here, to here. And then they'll release a tutorial video and they'll land every transfer that's worth landing with the new technique. It's like, what's the point? That sort of first past the post system, I just don't think it's very good for the game. I don't think it really proves anything either. Anyone with boost plant is some actual... Yeah, it is some bullshit. Yeah. I'm hoping they're going to revert it. They'd be very wise to revert it, but I don't have any say in the matter. I sure wish I did. And as I said to Mister throughout this podcast, when he asked me what would I change about Thug Pro, it would be set up a consultation process. Have the devs talk to the community. Have them talk to the community properly. Don't just make rash decisions based on what a few people are saying. Speak to the really experienced players. Speak to the non-experienced players. Find out what the middle ground is between what both sides of the coin want, and try to accommodate that as best as possible. Don't just listen to a few people and then change the game forever. Because the real problem with the Tony Hawk 4 boost plant change is that the game can now never go back to where it was. So if you watch a video a year ago, all the stuff that people were doing with Tony Hawk 4 Boost Plant, people just can't do anymore. So the game as a whole has had its bar lowered, and that's not good. It's never a good thing to lower the collective bar, especially in such a skill-based community. It's never a good thing. Thoughts on the internal separation between the prov community? Well, that's funny. I think that's not our responsibility to fix as the prov community. You know, if you try to tell somebody, hey, you're doing it wrong and this is the right way to do it, their immediate reaction is going to be, well, fuck you, buddy. You know, so there's not really a lot you can do to get them to listen to you. I think if any of them are serious players and wider to that, accountable and honest people, they'll see that the prov community is undoubtedly better than them, and they'll want to aspire to become like that. And if they don't want to do that, then that's on their onus. You know, it's really a matter of whether or not they're happy to lie to themselves about what's good and what isn't. And this goes back, way back to the online days on PS2, is that people would see you and they'd say, no stylers in my room, and then they'd ban you. You know, and it's just because they knew you were a better player and they didn't want to be embarrassed by it. So it's up to the individual within the larger THPS community to want to be a better player. And if they don't want to be a better player, you can't force them. You know, the ones that want to be, they will say, hey, how did you do that? Can you please teach me? Can you please show me? And they'll be humble about it, and they'll listen to what you're saying, they'll learn from it, and they'll become better. If they're going to say, you're cheating, so fuck you, or hey, you're really shit because you're styling, so I'm going to ban you, or whatever, they're going to do that. And it's been that way since the dawn of time on the game. You can't control their decision-making process. You can just keep doing what you're doing. Any others, guys? By the way, thank you all of you for tuning in and for listening. I hope I didn't say anything that's too outrageous throughout this. I've just tried to be as honest and as forthcoming as possible. I hope that shows.
The turnout is better than we thought it was going to be too for an afternoon. So
yeah, definitely. When I first came in here, mate, I was knackered, man. I was so tired, but I started getting the motor running, and it doesn't stop. Yeah. But no, thanks, guys. Appreciate your viewership, and for, of course, all the support you show MistaFreeze as well for his podcast. But it's really nice for you to be a balanced and, non-judgmental host in between. It's been a good experience.
Yeah, biggest thing for me has just been the consistency. You know, a lot of people they like watching them on the weekends, and consistency has helped out. So
I think there's one more.
Yeah, for sure. There's probably going to be a couple more. It always happens. I'm starting to end it, and then we got like 3 more, so it's fine.
So were there any revelations you had as far as mastering flat-to-flat rolls and spin-out rolls? Yeah, there's 2 really nice tricks for rolling, actually. And it's a nice trick that you can apply to wider THPS, is you can pre-cue a lot of your tricks. So if you want to do rolls, like from rail to rail, let me tab into the game and I'll show you what I mean. If you want to do a rail-to-rail roll, the trick is that when you're grinding, you should be pressing up now. That's the trick, is you don't want to be jumping and then trying to press up after the fact. You want to grind, press up now, and then do it. So you're already pre-queuing your ups. And it's a thing that a lot of people don't know about Tony Hawk, actually, and I didn't know till very recently. But if you can test this out yourself, right? If you're on the floor and you press right square, jump, and then square again, you'll do a double trick, even though you've only pressed it once. There we go. So you actually can press one of your tricks now, jump, and then press the other one, and it will do 2 of them. So you can pre-cue your tricks before you jump. And that's the real trick to rolling, guys, is that you should always be pressing your up button before you even jump. And if you can get that down, then you'll be able to get rolls down. And after that, you just have to late grind. And if you can learn how to late grind and also pre-cue your tricks, then you'll be fine. Rolls really aren't that difficult, but it's very much a timing thing. It's very much all around your timing. And as for spin outs, the same thing applies, dude. Like when you're jumping, you should be spin outing like now. You know, you should be spin outing before you hit the floor. If you wait till you hit the floor to then spin out, you're gonna look like this. But if you're spin outing before you hit the floor, you're gonna do it immediately. So you should always be pre-cueing your spin outs, and you should always be pre-cueing your rolls, and it will help you to do those a lot easier. Do a flat barrel roll right now. If you can't do that, you shouldn't be. Oh, dude, can I just like drop the civilized persona and tell this guy to go suck a dong right now? Fucking hell.
Can you do one? What does that mean? Flat roll, barrel roll. So like you just do it like from a manual to a barrel roll?
Yeah, he wants me to do a flat ground barrel roll. No, I haven't really practiced.
That's what Vega does, but he does it every day.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I don't know.
Again, it's probably not that hard. Hit me up in an hour, I'll probably be able to do it. Yeah. But no, I've never done it. I'm not well practiced on it now.
Let's do this last one.
Do it right now? Probably not.
By PrevZ. What's his question?
It's better a good-looking run or a run filled with super skill things doesn't look that great. Oh, definitely the latter, mate. Yeah, definitely the latter. It's so easy on this game to do a good-looking run because the game itself is very good-looking. You know, if you hold your grinds for a couple of seconds every grind, and if you just spin well into your next grind, you have a good-looking run. But there's no skill involved in doing that, really. The game is doing everything for you, and I've made this argument before. It's already a very pretty game. You don't have to do much to make it look pretty. But doing skillful things is a whole other discussion whatsoever, and that really comes down to like the competency of your audience. So if your audience is watching your video, they'll notice like, oh my god, what he did there was like so fast and so difficult to do, and I can never replicate that. What the fuck just happened? And they'll probably rewind it and look at it again, and they'll be like, oh, okay, I still don't understand it. Oh, actually, it was this and this and this, and wow, I can't believe he did that in that short period of a time. And that's very much my approach with videos, is that I'm making experienced gameplay videos for an experienced viewership, and I think that's the way that the wider community should be too. And in all of my videos, I always try and have like a little hidden gem, a little something that most people won't notice, and that they never say, what was this thing here, or how did you do that? And honestly, 90 to 99% of the time, it goes unnoticed, and I have to point it out to people. And I've been doing this recently with Vega, like, look at this thing, and nobody ever noticed it, but like, how fucking insane is that? And he's like, oh wow, yeah, you're right. So that's the sort of thing I think people should be making in videos, man, is they should be making really difficult stuff that's hidden and is not obvious, that only a very experienced player would notice and would recognize. Making a run look good, in the conventional term of looking good. I mean, just play the game. It's a good looking game anyway. You don't have to do a lot. So yeah, always go for skill-based stuff. 100%. Yeah. Anyone who's worthwhile watching it will notice, and will commend you on it. Promise.
Cool. Well, I'm going to end it with that. We're at about 2.5 hours, so it's about what I was expecting. And,
okay, cool.
Thanks again for doing this. We'll get you back on for sure. Next year, I want to get reoccurring guests. So
brilliant. Thanks for having me on, man. It's been a good time, and I think we covered
awesome.
a lot of stuff, and I had a lot of fun, so thank you.
Covered a shitload of stuff. Yeah. All right. Well, you guys take care. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next weekend. We're going to do that land, so it'll be a fun time.
Yeah, I hope you have fun there, man. Let me know how it goes.
For sure.
All right. Bye, everyone.